and welcome back to the Apex Legends Global Series. It is now time for match day 9 for our NA region, which means it is also the last opportunity for some of our teams to secure their spot to the regional finals. Now, we just watched EMEA close out their regular season, and we saw some incredible performances out of our bubble team, so I'm excited to see what NA can now bring to the table. I'm your host for today, Glitter Explosion, and I'm ready to get things going, so let's bring our casters back in yet again. On set, it's time for NA. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I've been waiting in the wings. EMEA was crazy. Probably one of the craziest game 1 finishes we've seen in Apex history, I would say. Fire Beavers with the double res. If you haven't seen it, by the way, go and check out the VOD. It was absolutely nuts. But NA's got to learn some lessons, I think, from EMEA a little bit earlier. And that is that there's going to be some unpredictable things that happen today. Some of those lower place teams in the standings can certainly put on a show. So you got to be careful if you're holding on.
Yeah, unpredictable to say the least. And of course, the other P to our casting pod, Gaskin, are you ready to jump back into it?
Of course, and I'm very excited because what's different in the EMEA region is we have 5 teams in the top 10 not playing today in North America. So that opens up a big can of worms when it comes to the teams that are trying to push themselves into those playoff spots going into regionals. And of course, I'll keep you up to date with which teams are going to be getting to regionals, maybe pushing for finals. I like to do the numbers, you know.
All right, well, you're...
Okay.
But also playoffs, Exit, the only team so far to have clinched a spot here on set.
They have indeed. Congratulations to Exet. They've got the job done early. They can kind of chill a little bit today, but I'm sure that they'll want to hold on to first place when it comes to the end of this split. Optic Gaming, they've been phenomenal since the pickup have dropped. Really picked up their game in recent weeks. One of the best teams, I would say, on form on paper. Dark Zero doing what they do. FaZe had a little bit of a quiet couple of weeks after an electrifying start, but Furia and TSM, we saw them playing yesterday. Furia will be playing again today, but TSM kind of rose from the ashes last night. It was a ridiculous performance and one that not a lot of people saw coming from what they had been doing, but they did it in the way that they do. Meat Lovers, one of the standouts for sure, but Complexity, 100 Thieves, and Wildcard, they've got to keep their eyes peeled and very careful in how they make their decisions today, because they are holding on to some of those illustrious playoff spots.
Yeah, pretty stacked top 10 to be sure, but as we take a look at the second page here, right now, these would be the teams that make their way through to regional finals, and there's not a lot of points separating all of these teams here, Dan.
There isn't. I think only 3 of these 11th through 20th are not playing today as well. So if there's 5 not competing in the top 10, that means there is plenty of room for all of these teams on this page to try and push themselves into that top 10, or of course try and hold their spot in the top 20 to solidify themselves at regional finals, so then they can get even more points to try and push themselves into top 10 afterwards. Certainly I can have eyes on a couple of teams like NRG, for example. Sentinels, I think, are a team that maybe we'll look at hoping teams around them won't be performing well today because they won't be competing. They're going to be one of those 3 that I mentioned, but certainly I think there's some of these squads who will be really hoping there's going to be poor performances around them.
Yeah, and of course, then on our third page, these are the teams that are going to be fighting to get into that top 20 bubble on set. And after what we saw in EMEA, it is absolutely doable for some of these squads. Yeah,
Bitfix Gaming taught us all a lesson, and that is you never count your chickens till they've hatched, because they had an amazing performance. Second place just in behind Alliance, who kind of dominated in the final few games, but Bitfix came out of nowhere. No one expected them to force their way into that regional finals, but that's exactly what they did, stealing away that 20th place spot. So if you're in the chasing pack at the moment, you can see how tight it is. One big day here, and you could be in that regional final.
It'll definitely be an interesting day to be sure, but we're talking about the regional finals. We also need to be looking towards playoffs, because now that EMEA is done with the regular season, we were actually able to confirm quite a few more teams. Originally, it was just Vexed up there, but now we've got Alliance, E6, Fire Beavers, and Pioneers joining, making their way through to playoffs. As we said earlier, XSET's the only one qualified through for North America, who has 11 spots. EMEA with 10, 9 spots available for APAC North, with these teams having already confirmed their qualification as well, with North Eption coming out on the top portion of that region. And then of course APAC South and South America respectively, with Moist Esports coming out on top by a wide margin for APAC South, and then FA Players being first in the region for South America, with Fellas actually winning the regional finals. So it's going to be a heavy competition when we make our way through to playoffs. But let's talk about who we are watching here today, because it is groups B versus C, and this is going to be tough competition.
It certainly is indeed, and you're looking at the two top teams. You're looking at 100 Thieves. They're kind of in and around the bubble at the moment. They're on they're in 10th place at the moment. Lanimal's just behind them, who won't be playing today, and they will be one of those teams who are certainly preying on the downfall of others around them. But then you look through, Dark Zero, been very, very impressive. Rambo going to be playing with them today, which is obviously going to add firepower to any team. But Optic are the team for me, the form team. Alongside Exet, I think that their consistency across recent weeks is something to behold.
All right, now we've got lots of teams that we're going to be talking about here with multiple storylines that we're going to be keeping our eyes on. It's going to be hard to pick some, but let's get into that right now, okay? It's time for our ones to watch. Onset, I want to start with you because I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, let's hear what I've got to say. I'm going to be watching NRG today, and the reason for that is it's been story. It was looking like they wouldn't be qualifying for LAN. They wouldn't be qualifying for the playoffs when they put in a banger game, a banger day to make sure that they put themselves in a position to, of course, make that trip over to London. Now, it's looking better, but they're currently sat outside of the top 11. They do have this game day in hand, of course, and they're sat on 62 points. 11th place at the moment, like I mentioned, held by Lanimals. They're on 68 points. Now, looking at kind of some calculations we've done, and we've estimated what we believe is going to be the qualification number, we're saying it's going to be around 88 points, I think, 82 points, excuse me. So 14 points needed for NRG over 2 game days, including that regional final if they make it, is going to be good for them. But as I say, they still have to get that work done, and they cannot afford to slip up. But talking about improvements, you can see how NRG have given themselves much better opportunity to qualify this time around. 56 points in split 1 compared to 62, excuse me, here in split 2, and all of those good stats that you want to be heading in the right direction certainly are this split in comparison to split 1.
Well, and I'll follow up. I mean, you're watching NRG, and a team that they're going to be chasing is 100 Thieves. Now, a squad who are currently in 10th position, and the reason why I wanted to highlight 100 Thieves is because they've dominated B versus C. The last 2 times we've seen them go up against each other, they won it once, and they came second once. In all the other match weeks, they've...
You had a boyfriend that looked like a girlfriend.
You back, Knock?
For me, it's got to be a team that happens to be chasing both of your picks. I want to focus on Glitch Energy. Now, obviously, there are multiple bubbles that we're focusing on here today because we're either looking at the bubble for top 20 to get into regional finals, or we're looking at that bubble for playoffs. Well, Glitch Energy is a team that finds themselves just outside of the top 10 bubble right now. They're currently in 14th coming into today, and they have the opportunity to break into that top 10 depending on how they perform. They're currently only 3 points behind NRG and LG, and the last time these two groups saw each other, GE actually had their second best play day of the entire season. So not only are they coming in off of a high, but they have tended to do well when these groups see each other. The one thing I do want to talk about, though, is some stats, because I think this is really important when it comes to Glitch Energy. Stereotypically, they are a World's Edge team, okay? They have, I think it's about a 69% win rate in comparison to Stormpoint on World's Edge. Obviously, the stats here, average placement much better, average kills higher, average points per match significantly higher. So World's Edge is where they're comfortable. But what's crazy is that last time they played, they gave us a little 3-2-1 action when it came to their placement on Stormpoint. Had a phenomenal performance on Stormpoint where they were really lacking it and then actually fell off on World's Edge. So what I'm looking for out of them today is to continue the success we saw last time on Stormpoint and then get back to those incredible stats that they already had on World's Edge, merge them here today, and give us a performance that will potentially completely catapult them into that top 10. So it'll be exciting to see if they are able to do that. But of course, before we get into all the action, we've got to talk about the map schedule, all right? Something everyone should be very familiar with at this point. Same thing as last time. We're going to be starting things off with our first 3 matches of the day on Stormpoint. And if EMEA is any indication, that means things are going to start off insanely chaotic, which I will absolutely be a fan of. And then we'll be switching on over to World's Edge for the last 3 matches of the day. I think we went into our EMEA region with some preconceived notions on what the type of play style might be, because there's a lot on the line for some of these teams that have a chance of qualifying through to regional finals. But I think all have to completely go out the window, because some of these teams at the bottom might end up just being that chaotic factor that we end up seeing here today on set.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. I think the good thing about the lobbies that we saw earlier is the fact that, like I mentioned in the EMEA show, everyone who's playing today has something to play for, whether it's, like you say, looking to push yourself into the qualification, the top 11 for the playoffs, whether it's looking to force your way into the regional final and then maybe have that Cinderella run where we have the match point format, or if it's just staying in the Pro League, avoiding the relegation system that you have to go through to solidify your spot. So the quality of games was very high. We were seeing some really, really populated end games where a lot of teams were kind of coexisting alongside each other, and it was coming down to those macro decisions, which is where the best IGLs in the world earn their money, right? And we've got a couple of them in this lobby, so look for them to certainly be tested today. And I like it when the IGLs get tested. It's where you see the grey matter going to work.
Okay, now I know Onset's typically the one that's correct in these situations, but while we're sitting here, we're waiting for the lobby to get loaded and all our players to get loaded in. Let's talk about predictions for maybe just the first match. You know,
I'm correct.
Who do we...
I'm only correct on LAN.
I'm trying to help you here. I'm trying to help you here. We'll talk about who you think might come out swinging in match number 1.
I'm going to go with Optic. I think Optic have been really, really good. I think the addition of Dropped has given them a little bit more kind of decisiveness in the decisions they want to make in and around, especially on Stormpoint. I think Stormpoint, where they were struggling quite significantly, and I think we saw a lot of their success coming in a previous meta where they were playing a certain composition, right? And this is a long time ago now where Optic really burst onto the scene, but it's been great to see. I mean, their last game days, they've had 13 points, then 25, 2 wins, and then, 8 points and 14 points. It's been a great split for them so far. That's why they find themselves in second place. But I think as well as Optic Gaming, a team that we never talk enough about is the team who's top right now, and that's XSET. XSET have been unbelievable so far this split. They're consistent. Like, when do XSET have bad days? They just don't. And it doesn't matter where the zone goes. It doesn't matter how far they have to travel. XSET always find a way to pick up points. And I think, again, it's going to be a nice battle between those two at the top of the table.
Dan, what about you?
I want to know who's going to be the Bitfix Gaming of today, right? Who's going to be one of those teams that is down at the bottom of the table, who is going to really be aggressive. I think if you can learn anything from EMEA, it was that the teams that were looking like they were pretty much done and dusted, they just sent everything. They changed their composition. They didn't play the meta, as it were. They were very much looking for kills. They were looking to get aggressive. And a lot of the kills that were found by Bitfix Gaming was just them picking on those edge teams that weren't necessarily as confident. When we look at teams right at the bottom, you've got the likes of Rise and NXS. Both of these two teams have got about 75% of their points total being on Stormpoint. So if it's going to happen anywhere, it's going to happen in these opening 3. Do I think it's realistically going to happen? I think North America is very different to EMEA. I don't necessarily think these guys are going to have what it takes, and it's a bit of a further gap. It's going to be a lot to ask for, especially when teams that are holding the position right now, like Oxygen and CLG, they've been a consistent squad across the board. Like, they've been picking up a good amount of points, so they're going to make it a lot harder for that top 20 to be pushed into like it was in EMEA.
Well, we are just moments away from finding out which one of you is correct. We'll see how match 1 goes, because the dropship is ready and loaded, so it's time to kick it off.
Well, here we go then, Dan. It's good to be back. It feels like a little short break between EMEA and North America, but it means that our brains don't go too far away from Apex Legends. And I hope you're proud of me, by the way, predicting the 2 teams that are at the top of the leaderboard.
I hope you're proud of me, because I managed to not do a prediction, and that was an on-set classic. I just said, well, these 2 teams might do okay. That's what you always do. You always beat around the bush, and I like that.
I've got a future in politics. That's all I can say. But I think game number 1 is going to be very interesting.
Get the jets. We're dropping high.
It is the first day. We get a C-note zone. I'm talking back C-note.
Back C-note?
Right outside the big house.
Give me that. Give me that back right fucking open water bullshit.
They started on on
They're
the
gonna
right
restart
server. They're
this.
probably gonna restart.
Gonna see what people are saying. Yep. People are 180.
It's on New York. Yeah, they're gonna restart.
It's not whatever server you're on. It's not gonna show us like what they're on.
Are they gonna restart?
Yeah, I think they're on,
They definitely are.
I literally think they're on European servers.
Yep.
This is your champion.
I mean, we normally get both beacons anyways, so it's not horrible for us. Fuck it, whatever.
Gap between 20th and the teams lower than there was in EMEA, so it really would need to be a kind of match-winning performance from some of the guys that are right down at the bottom. It would really be a Cinderella story, but there is still that opportunity. I think that's the beauty of it, and it's already been shown in the EMEA region that it can happen.
It certainly can happen. My question is, will it happen in this lobby, though? I mean, I've talked about some of the teams you've got involved. It's a brutal-looking lobby, this one, with the amount of talent that's in there, and the amount of teams who convert not only like good games, but into good points. It's teams that convert good games into wins alongside the kills as well. So
Bottom 10 right now, or at least the bottom 5. The team that had the most success the last time these two groups matched up against each other was Team Inters. They picked up 11 points, which is what, like 10th or something like that. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but it's an okay placement that they were able to pick up, but it would need to be quite literally a first or second place for them if they were to even push themselves into the top 20. So realistically, the teams that might be able to break in, you've got AJC or SCS could be the two squads that might be able to push through, but this is the kill leaderboard anyway. These are the guys in Split 2 that have really been dominating when it comes to getting those kills.
yeah, and Zainu's been absolutely on fire as part of Meat Lover's new addition to the lineup, Tech leading him into battle, and he's certainly fulfilling those duties especially well. 62 kills in total, 0 just in behind on Dark Zero, 56 for him, and then everyone else kind of sharing a very, very similar look along, you know, as far as the numbers are concerned, not too much between the players, but the thing that jumps out to me is you've got Sykes and Nocturnal up there from Exet, and you also have 2 players from Dark Zero, 2 players from Op. 1, 2, 3 respectively.
And it has been Exet that has dominated B versus C when these guys have matched up against each other. I mean, they won it just a couple of weeks ago. They won it as well in one of the first, they came second in one of the first few match days that we had. And even on that match day, it was looking like they were close to winning it had it not been an incredible performance from 100 Thieves to steal it away from them. So Exet are going to be setting the bar. I feel in this lobby, they have found the perfect rotations. I know, of course, the circle is going to make a big difference here, but I do think that Exet are the real deal, and that's what they want to be considered as. I know we mentioned it, well, it seems like 5 weeks ago now when we spoke to the Exet squad and we spoke to the coach as well, and you know, they want to be considered one of the best teams in the world and perhaps feel like they've been overlooked. Well, this is a chance to yet again prove yourselves on one of the biggest stages.
Yeah, I think for Exet, the best way for them to prove it, of course, is not only to win this split, but also go to LAN and be involved in that match point, you know, be on match point in a position where you can potentially win the tournament. It's crazy to say, but it's great to do it at home. But where the teams that we talk about in general, that kind of esteem from, so to speak, as we move through the years of Apex Legends, is performing on the biggest stage, on the international stage, where there are even more variables for you to prepare against. You know, different regions, different play styles, teams making different rotations that you've got to kind of in scrims and different tournaments to kind of build a pattern of how they want to play. And I think that's the one question for me for Exet. You've been fantastic, brilliant. I'm taking nothing away from what you've done so far. But when you get to the biggest stage of them all, and of course that's going to be the playoffs and, you know, the championships itself, are you going to be in that conversation to win the whole thing?
Well, you speak of teams doing things on the biggest stage. I mean, Furia and it has been great to see the resurgence of them. I think there's been a lot of questions asked, not just from like the general public, but from me. I was saying, are Furia ever going to recover? Are they going to be back to their greatest? They've got some of the best players that we've seen in the world, but things weren't really clicking as metas changed it seems like they found their footing once more. It really does feel like they've worked things out. They are a team that are going to be a huge threat when it comes to not just regional play, but internationally. When we get to LAN, Furia, it's likely they're going to be there, and it is going to be a terrifying factor having them back and having them on the biggest stage. I'm excited to see what they can do here today to there is going to be a lot of teams dropping out of that top 10 or potentially dropping out of that top 10 because of these guys. 11th through 20th, they have the chance to really push themselves up and give themselves the best opportunity to put themselves in a spot for those playoff positions.
Well, good news, everybody. The drop shit is hovering above Storm Point, and that can only mean one thing. It means we're about to get into our first game of the day here. The North American Pro League is going to conclude today before the regional finals get underway with our top 20 teams, of course, at the end of play, moving through to fight their way in that tournament. But for now, it's focus time for these teams. It's 6 games to get the job done, to get into regional finals, to book your place at playoffs. It's all to play for here as we see where these teams are going to be dropping.
Yeah, see where they're dropping, see who's going to be potentially contesting. Has everyone found a home to live in that is going to be comfortable? And I'll give you a fun game to play whilst we're just watching everyone drop as well, Mark. You know, I told you in EMEA what was the best drop location for win rates in the region. Where would you guess it would be in North America if you just had to pick one?
Exit have been pretty good on this. It's Down Beast.
Ooh, not far off, but actually Cascade Falls and Mill coming into this weekend
Okay, so
were the
Exit,
two
yeah. See,
highest places.
I thought it did that thing where you're like, I think this is right, and then you second guess yourself for just a second.
It really
I
has
meant
been
to say Cascade Falls.
Everybody
knew I said Exit.
It's
fine.
again
Everyone
been
agrees with me.
It's a northern dominated situation here in North America as well. It really is just
Damn, dude, this place is insane.
I'm gonna make it back.
Obi, in case we get rocked. I got blue armor over here on me.
How are we getting there? We're just gonna take the car.
Nemesis car right now.
Okay.
Purple armor down there?
301
Yep.
R9.
Pinged it. It's in the down there where the 2 to 4 is.
Armor over here.
Yep.
One of these days,
You
the
know
high
what?
point team is gonna
You know about
run
scout if you see
behind
one?
us and get a free kill.
Okay.
Well,
Sounds
probably not because the high point team's always
I'm going to the back.
pussies, so. Who's the high point team right now?
Potential.
I don't know.
Did you ping an energy mag back there? These?
Yeah, purple one.
Have me back there too or no?
Exactly.
No.
You
Armor.
can grab his fence, just ran over it.
Got a purple.
Oh yeah.
One thing I don't want is I don't want a team to pull up on us and us not be prepared for it, okay? Because if it is pulling back here, then we might get some company. So just try to keep it a little bit close if we can.
Make sure we're all back after.
Yeah, don't get too weak over there, man. There's blue armors over here for you and shit.
Dude, I swear, it's like the same circle every day.
Yeah.
Bottom left center.
Yeah.
All the time. I don't give a...
I mean, light mags. Bad.
There's a blue one in this cave. I can't bring it
This is
though.
the
Got a
ALGS
purple
zone.
one over here.
The only one
Need a charge.
I haven't found one yet.
is my spot.
Dropping a 3x.
Yeah.
You know, I think it might be.
They're bad here. Someone pick it up.
You know
I already
how
have
I always
6.
had
I'm
thing
6'8".
where, like,
on heals.
Top of the map had higher range than the
I
bottom.
kind of broke back from the brothers too.
At higher
Cool.
what?
I can craft armor for somebody if we need. D start coming back now.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
going
not
to
really. It's probably that the
Yeah, you have a bang pill back here too.
better on
I know you.
south zones
You
than
need
south
to. You need to back up. Get over to him. Get over to him. Smoke and come.
Yeah, I'm
You
trying to.
use it all. These. Use it all. These.
Really force some of those teams back. They did have, you know, the Horizons and the Seers that were running at them and causing them loads of problems. But this gives them a little bit more flexibility, I feel, on zone and edge play, depending on where that zone is going to be going. But Exit, they're inside a mill already. Optic Gaming, no surprise. Some nosy neighbors landing over here. It'd be interesting to see if our first fight that goes down is between our top 2 teams.
I mean, this is Batman versus Superman, right? This is 2 Titans clashing in the same area, but it's whether either of them are going to be confident enough to take the fight. I don't think it's worth the risk right now. They can both just kind of hover, and I think they will realize that it is going to be a situation that if you int on this, there is definitely another team that is in the area that could certainly third party. So you have to be patient, you have to bide your time, stick your ear to the wall, and try and work out what's happening elsewhere.
Is it rude to say that I never liked the comparison of Batman and Superman? One of them's just got money. The other one's an actual superhero. Anyway, let's see what Optic are going to do here. It's interesting to see how they're just poking at each other at the moment. Nobody's really in a position. Nobody really wants to engage because coexisting for this end game means that both of them will pretty much guarantee some decent placement points unless we see someone getting a little bit weird and a little bit, shall we say, nervous energy starts to leak out a little bit, which you never want to do.
I've heard Batman has some energy that leaks out every now and then as well. He's, as you say, just a man. Nothing compared to the superhero.
Just a man with it's a big bank balance. That's what he's got.
Oh, he does have that.
3.
Yeah.
Here, take a bat as well. Actually, I'm on gold.
That was from outside, it looked like.
That was their seer. That was their seer on that door.
Okay. Just can't really peek
reinforce this door again. Or I guess you could just do that one.
They've got charge rampage.
You guys literally have everything to like breach our setup here.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah.
If they ape us, do we just go out that door?
No, because if you play out there, you get shot in the back from Godrock. We just have to fight them, bro. Straight up. I mean, they don't have like the only thing that they can do to us is just break a door and insta kill one of us.
Just be ready to seer all immediately.
Yeah,
if they
yeah,
try, because they're gonna just try and insta fucking run across.
The thing is the rampart has to do one of the two, right? Like he can't break this door and this door. Like they'll have to kick this one and then Sheila this one.
They can charge rampage.
That's true, actually. We could look to insta kill that left guy. He's moving back now.
To be eliminated as 100 Thieves. Your team to watch, Dan. Have a very, very nice start.
Yeah, I think that 100 Thieves have just really sussed out this lobby and the rotations that come through it and which teams they can pick apart, because 100 Thieves haven't always been the most aggressive of teams at times. They like to play zone when it's available to them, but they also know which teams are going to be easily beatable, or at least in their eyes. They pick their fights correctly, and that means they are such a real threat in this lobby, because everyone knows that, you know, if 100 Thieves are in the area and they're feeling confident, they will take that fight and they will win it. I love watching them play. I think some of the things that they did in this B versus C matchup when they were able to win the match week as well was incredible. Not just circle management, but also how they fought in those final circles.
Well, CCE, we saw them taking down Oxygen, and if you take down Oxygen early in the game, I always feel like you're going to be in a good spot for the end game as well. So they can kind of chill for now. They've got the KP. They've got a good spot to play. Another team who's going to have some work to do as we have a quick, brief look at Except versus Oxygen. Except versus Optic Gaming in the mill is NRG, because they did make a quick rotation to those two buildings just outside.
Good. We're in the next ring.
Honestly, I think you reinforce this door. I feel like they're less likely to push this side because they'll get shot from like the other mill.
Okay, can you heartbeat over there? Yeah, just heartbeat over there.
But if you're in a good spot and you get armor checked and you've got a couple of whites, it doesn't matter if you're some of the best players in the world. Teams with purples and reds are going to cause you problems.
What about if it was like Thanos versus Superman? Would that be?
We need to lit.
Would that be
Thanos
a closer comparison?
Captain America, who's the second worst superhero
Whoa,
of all
you
time.
can't say that. We're in the North American region. Captain America is a fantastic superhero. Sorry, everyone, for Mark, who just wants Captain Britain to be around.
What do you do, Captain America? I don't even have an offensive weapon. I have a shield.
Yeah,
you know
which he literally... All right, anyway. Whatever. Not happy with you right now. No, I'm not happy with you.
Okay, cool. Stand by my statement.
When we get the map overhead, we can see where the circle is going to be going again. It's actually going to pull a little bit south of Mill, it would seem.
What's going on.
So
Yeah, I
all
think we
those
should
teams
definitely take advantage
that
of
are
the beacon,
within
right?
Mill are going to have to move ever so slightly when it does eventually pull closer a little bit to Cenote Cave. And there are going to be teams that are already holding. Actually, Tripods are going to be in a pretty good position for where the circle is currently going.
Yeah, Tripods have that southern side to themselves. LG kind of hovering in the area, though, and we know that LG like to kind of creep their way towards zone, and sometimes they can surprise you a little bit. Speaking of LG, great switch from the observers to give us that information, but they will, like we say, maybe have to fight their way through Tripods a little bit later on. At the moment, just to give you an update on some of the other teams and what they're doing on the map, Furia are currently right at the northern point of the map, just coming through Cascade Falls. I'm sure that they're taking their time to level up their Evo shields, something they love to do, to make sure they're ready to fight for this end game. And 100 Thieves still holding down this area. The team that I'm very interested in seeing how the game plays out for, though, are Dark Zero. They're up on the God Rock. They have the ultimate high ground of where this zone is going to be going, and if they play this one well, it could be a big point game for Dark Zero. And it's really interesting with Dark Zero and the position they're in right now. Of course, Rambo is currently playing for them, but it's no secret that he may not be playing for them when they get to land. They have been trialing other players, and
maybe this is going to be one of the biggest trials for Rambo here. If they succeed today, if they confirm their land place, then maybe Rambo gets a spot. Maybe you know more than I do, Mark, but certainly that's the way I've seen it in the past couple of weeks. And I think we all know what a player Rambo is. We'll have to see whether he ends up on Dark Zero full time. For now, it's a temporary position, and Dark Zero have a real opportunity, as you say, with the position that they hold on the map.
I don't know about Rambo. Hell of an Apex play.
They're gonna bang ulti and push us, by the way.
Yeah, they will. Not Digi Day, so hope they don't find Digis. They haven't found Digis.
Another squad is on us.
That sees me from that?
Recharging shields.
I think that's team from dogs. Yeah, there's no team from dogs. I can't really play my rocket much. They're gonna have a head glitch.
Rise also
back
just
here.
kind of skirting around the outside of the zone at the moment. Interesting.
The Horizon's going up here.
Yeah, blue. They have a double blue and a perp.
Nice.
I'll catch the perp.
Nice. Okay, Deez, you said this team is playing bridge?
Yeah, nah, one of them might be, but I see two back here on my ping.
All right, I hear you. I hear you. Just help Jen for a second. I'm gonna go scan up. Team Godrock.
Yeah, I'm coming over since I can't.
They cat queued near me.
You guys have to hard hold out right. Don't start. Don't baby off that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Enemy over there.
Yeah, they're playing that little broken plat area right there. That's not great for us, but I think the height team can be able to help us when we play bridge late, right?
They're
going to be able to
turn
look
back
down
and
that a
face
little bit.
all the teams that are inside them as well, and maybe they think, okay, no one's going to come. But if you can time it perfectly, there is a chance that Furia could really catch a team off guard and pick up some easy KP. You can see in your kill feed that 100 Thieves with a charge rifle doing some damage, and also E8 maybe going to look to try and push if they can follow up with this damage they're doing as well.
Oh, you're going to see the ults coming out, the nades being thrown. Zach Mason doing so much damage for his squad right now. The Zero was so good. He also did an amazing job of destroying their opponents. See ultimate here. The exhibit does go down, and not only does he hold the door, not only does he get the damage down, he opens the door for the rest of his team to move through and surely clean up this fight.
How did Zach Mason stay alive, by the way? 1 HP and a dream, but now gets his shields back. Designful gets absolutely destroyed there, but it should still be fine for EA, you imagine. But I say that Zach Mason also struggling a little bit. They need to work together here, Dukeok and Zach.
I mean, this has been a little bit disjointed, to say the least, from EA. I mean, NRG, that would be why. They've decided this is their opportunity to push. They hear the fight going down. They left the position they were holding down in and around the mill, and now Chaotic is thinking, 2 seconds ago, we were in a position to win this fight, to pick up some KP. We've done everything, and now NRG are ruining everything for us.
Yeah, I think that's always the worry when a fight goes on for a little bit too long. It feels great you've done damage, but EA now get eliminated. NRG trying to push in, trying to take advantage of maybe the damage that had been done previously, but they have to work together. Sweet, the last remaining player, just about does it. AJC, they put on one hell of a show there, but NRG in the end will close it out.
Goldrez is going to get them back to their feet. Good news for NRG fans. No one else in the vicinity to cause problems. But here, causing problems on the outside is going to be Tripods. Playing in zone right now and getting a little bit of damage alongside. A little finish coming in from Nick Merckx on the down player.
I can't really peek my rock.
And you can see they don't have too far
Okay,
to
listen,
go
20 more seconds and I can fucking... You get the cat wall over here, okay?
Okay.
He smoke me.
Okay.
Smoke this.
Enemy is right here. Smoke out.
Nice.
They're shooting on the left.
I know. I'm coming. I'm here. Don't worry. We have to just hold our space. Play up a little bit if you can.
What about Jen? Jen's still in there.
I know. I'm watching over Jen. I'm watching over Jen. You look forward. You look northwest. I'm watching over Jen. I'll call you if I need you.
I need restoration.
We have a great spot here, boys. We have a great spot. Great job holding it all out. It's hard, I know. We're doing it all right now. Valkots are gonna start coming in.
I'm gonna start coming to you guys.
Yeah, come on. I'm watching you.
Look at the right. I think they're shooting on the right.
I'm looking at it. I think they're playing this choke.
Okay.
Nick, can you come up and scan and see if they're behind these rocks?
Yep, I will in a
Fury
second.
being eliminated, and Exit have also been eliminated. It's a perfect time for us to jump into our first listen of the day. Dark Zero, we're going to serve them up for you, presented by WD Black.
I can probably loot that in a bit.
Okay. Guy on the bridge right here.
Somebody look mill side. I'm gonna get us.
Yeah, I'm looking mill. Mill's like aping northeast.
Somebody watch G behind us, though.
Yeah, I'll watch E.
I'm dropping a perp, bro.
I'm 5 off. Don't worry about it. I'm 5 off.
There's not a team mill. The hard's fighting like over here. There's not a team mill. I don't know who that is.
I'm just watching G for you. I'm just watching G.
I'm moving meds.
Everything else, this is free placement. This is one of those games where we don't get a shit ton of kills, but we get free placement. We'll get kills super late.
Again. I'm gonna look for kills. I'm gonna look for kills. I'm not watching G anymore.
Look at here, look here. Yes, look at this guy. Just fucking look at this. Easy points.
I'm reloading.
Another one, there's no one healing.
I jumped 8-2.
And I'm looting.
Where?
Okay, yeah. They're fighting,
Oh,
they're
I
fighting.
didn't fucking wall properly.
Flash on one. I think he died. I got my kill.
Come back in, come back in. I have 8 bats, I'm getting inside. 8 bats, 8 bats. Look at zone, look at zone.
Mill team's fighting it.
We're still.
You guys need bats? That's 7.
I have 2.
No.
I can take 2 off you.
Here, 2.
Yep.
I have 9.
We should maybe clear this.
No, we should.
Maybe. No.
We're getting shot in the back.
I'm fine, I'm not gonna die.
Already 8 teams left, bro. Everybody just died.
Valkyrie out here is gonna be really tough though, unless we can get the backside.
It's gonna be tough, yes.
If you don't get
Valkyrie's gonna be
over
tough.
here,
If we need
everyone
to,
just
we
dies.
need to get
We
this
did a
spot
great
right here
job
by the
holding out
cannon
cave.
and the little boxes, okay?
Him
Yeah, our walk-in should be fine on that. Yes.
They're just like 17.
55 on that guy.
I got 240 for you, Jen.
Yeah, hell yeah. Give me. I think Longbow will farm this zone. I think he should keep. Yeah, I got that.
I got mad meds. I'm carrying ulti as well. Where are the nades? Maybe spare nades?
Yeah, I have 1 arc.
Yeah, I have fur, mate. You want it?
I'm carrying. I'm good.
Opponent over there.
I was back into the comms here. Zero commanding this God Rock. This is where they've been the whole game here, Dan. The team who are currently set up inside of the next zone, though, where we're going to be pulling is Glitch Energy. Just to the south of them is Tripods as well. They're the 2 teams who have control of zone.
And it's a surprise only having 7 squads here, but I think a lot of teams kind of jumped on each other because they recognized that this circle was not going to be easy to get into, and even if you do, there's not many places to actually play, especially when you've got teams like Dark Zero who are just holding commanding positions like this and can easily destroy you as you make your rotation over towards. So now we've got 3 teams within this next circle. 4 of the teams that are outside are going to have to make a move in. Do you go for the ballsy skyward dive? Do you try and creep on in and hope you don't get spotted? Well, the team above, they're going to be skyward diving right now and trying to hope they can get in comfortably.
Just a couple of noted teams that went down as well. Optic eliminated NRG while all of that fighting was going on. CCE, you can see them on the edge of zone as well. They're all dressed in red. They're all looking at 100 Thieves who have had some decent KP go their way. Unfortunately, are going to feel the wrong end of Rambo's longbow, and that is going to get a knock onto them. Luminosity now moving in to try and pick up the pieces.
Yeah, and it's going to be a real opportunity for Luminosity to get some KP. 100 Thieves get eliminated. 6 squads remaining. Optic did make the skyward dive rotation. Luminosity now just need to avoid the barrage here, says stay alive and not take too much damage, but it looks like they are going to be okay, and maybe it was Jaguarez's anyway, but with the position they hold, it's not the worst for LG, but the trouble is they made so much noise that I think they're going to have eyes on them from both CCE and Tripods here.
Let him kill, let him kill.
Tripods just trying to overextend.
Okay, we need to... Nice, dead.
CCE see the damage being done, though, and surely this is going to be the end of the game for LG, but Yanya has
we get this
one way
kill?
of surviving these
Spanish for me,
situations.
Yes. He's still there. I'm selling.
Yep.
We play from where Deez is at
We're
late.
still in. Yeah, we're still in. Left side might be better than the staircase, by the way. Just because height can see us.
Look at this with me, Jet.
I'm looking.
I'm scanning for you. Put your goo.
I can't hit him. I am. It's like sitting on him right now.
Watch this rocket peeking, Jet.
I'm standing at this Valk if he flies up.
Yeah.
But potentially teams like Glitch Energy and Tripods who are already holding a position in the circle.
They do have the opportunity maybe to bang ult if they do have the ultimate ready to force Dark Zero to kind of retreat for a few seconds. The Rolling Thunder will cause that explosion, which is going to make taking those angles a little bit more difficult for Dark Zero. But for now, CCE, I think they're kind of, so to speak, stuck between some boxes and a hard rock, because they try and take one rotation, which was plan A, but plan A just didn't look like it was comfortable for them.
I was just trying to work out whether it would be mathematically possible for a couple of these teams to actually get into regional playoffs. For the likes of Tripods, for example, who are on 28 points, they do find themselves only 18 points off of 20th, or, you know, it's still doable. They could do a bit fixed gaming. I was just trying to work out of the top 6 who might be able to be that team replicating what was done in the EMEA region. But here comes Optic Gaming now.
Hard swing right.
But the nades are coming out, and they're trying to just get as much info with those nades.
Yeah, this is a full
One
set
dead.
from Optic. They want to take this spot.
Last guy, last guy.
They've used everything.
In the knock, I'm holding knock for you.
I have him burning. I'm going behind him. I'm batting.
I'm just landing on him.
I cut.
The bridge might push. Bridge, you need a res, you need a res.
Gold res him, gold res him.
Gold res.
I'm getting. You hold,
Watch bridge, watch right side bridge.
Top three. Just stay, don't get cracked, do not get cracked. Watch right. Watch right. This is where we get wrapped. We're in the best spot.
Watch left.
All right, good.
We need a hard to the right team then.
We can like play the 3 squads
we need
all
to
3
focus
players,
right.
and these are some of
We
my
need to focus right?
most favorite final circles to try and
Well,
work
I
out
don't-
what on earth is going to happen.
What?
Dark Zero have had the
Jen?
high ground
Yeah, for
throughout the
light, for light.
entirety
I have
of
118
this,
for
but the
double light, I
circle
can't.
is going towards
like 20. I have like
Optic
34 on
Gaming.
it.
However, look at the amount of cover that's available for
okay.
all of these teams. Very little. So if you are the first team to engage, the likelihood is you are probably going to go down
Look,
because the team that's last to
gonna
engage
peek you. That's gonna peek you, Jen.
wins. That being said, if you can bait a fight here, if you can start
guys,
a sort of
we have
engagement
to
and
bang
then
all
back off,
right.
find some cover to work
We
with,
need to cat wall and push the far left side and push this team into the right. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because you're gonna bang all right. Jen, you're gonna catwall straight. Jen, you're gonna catwall straight 300, straight 300, and then I'm gonna steer all in front of this rock, and we have to push this team into that team. 50-50. All right, bang all. I'm gonna trust out the heel. Catwall, Jen. Catwall on you, kid. Catwall on you. You're good. Whatever you want.
I'm gonna smoke left. I think
You got a catwall soon, though.
I'm gonna go off this bat. I'm gonna do this bat.
Bet.
Put it now.
We're going left.
Yeah.
We're going left.
Now let the see right team wrap though.
We're going left.
Yeah, I'm watching. They back up. They're at the build.
We're good.
Yeah,
Play this rock. I'm anchoring for you guys. Play this rock. I'm serial-ulting you guys.
Yeah, making sure right team doesn't come our way. Good looking our way. I got cracked. They're rocking right. Yep.
Just play your rock. These. Hold your right. I have your left. Double hold right. It's fine. Play this rock. You're safe on this rock right here. You're really safe.
We're good.
Look left.
They're
Look left with me.
They're gonna push them.
Yes, I know. It's really good.
Down
Look
the pin,
left
down the
with me. Knock one.
just to give them a little bit of a gap. But as soon as these walls fall, there is going to be hell to pay for all of these squads that are just going to be eventually staring at one another. It's going to be about who's hitting their shots, who's got the utility still to use.
Flash on one.
Tripods who have the best range on this. It looks like Dark Zero have decided their second place here with some KP, which leaves the door open for Tripods.
Let's go. That's what we do, man. Yeah.
that's what we need.
Yeah. I'm telling you, bro.
Around our fucking ammo.
I probably should give you all my ammo. I'm kind of trolling.
You are the Apex
Yeah.
champions.
Easy, bro. Easy. That shit was easy.
Look
job.
at the zone. The G's.
Yeah, well, we used one after our fucking split.
Putting themselves with their best foot
God damn it.
I mean, that was essentially just a game of pure patience on behalf of Tripods. They waited on the edge of that zone, let everybody else around them fight, and they just inched in. Every time the ring shrunk down, they played so passively, but in a really, really intelligent way, because across the board, I think everybody tried to wait it out for as long as possible. And the last day of regular season play to finally get that win on the board has got to feel fantastic for Tripods. And you were saying it yourself, Dan. I mean, you were trying to do the math. Are they one of the teams that could possibly fix gaming the situation if they have a Cinderella run here today? If they get multiple wins, it's not out of the question.
It's doable. They're 17 points off of 20th position, right? So if they were to win today, they'd get 25 points. They would just need to require those teams who are in 20th not to get more than 8 in that scenario. And we already saw in EMEA that is entirely possible. So it's only game 1. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to give Tripods fans, you know, a little bit too much faith in what's just happened, but it is doable, that's for sure. And Tripods at least are giving themselves the best opportunity with a hot start here in match number 1.
All right, we'll have an opportunity here to watch the final circle from Tripod's perspective so we can see exactly what they had to do to get themselves in the right position to be able to third party that entire fight between Optic and DZ. On set, break it down for us.
The impressive thing for me was the use of the catwall, the Dark Veil that went out pretty early from Tripods. What it did is denied all of the lines of sight that Dark Zero had onto them while the zone closed. And during that period, Dark Zero had to drop off that high ground. That then forced Optic to have to be wary of Dark Zero, because Dark Zero dropping, then the team closest to them, their Dark Veil goes down to kind of counteract what Tripods did. And as those two teams are forced to engage, then Tripods have the most simple job in the world. They just have to move in and sweep up the pieces. So it was the early Dark Veil to deny that line of sight from height, forcing Dark Zero down onto the low ground into Optic. That was the big play coming in from Tripods.
Oh, but talking about Optic, I mean, they might not have gotten the dub, but the 10 kills and the second place finish does ensure that they at least get more points than Tripods, who do close the whole game out. And then Dark Zero also 7 kills themselves. A pretty top-heavy leaderboard coming out for match number 1 for NA, Dan.
And looking at the teams that, you know, for example, Tripods are trying to catch: Oxygen, CLG, E8. They are going to be the teams that Tripods would need to fail today. I don't see any of those teams in the top 10, so that's already a good sign for you if you are a fan of Tripods, but of course there is still a long way to go. They are CLG only with the 1 point, E8 with only the 1 point, Oxygen with 0 points. So I think that when we look at, you know, the regional bubble today, these are the kind of teams we're going to be debating, because not only are the likes of Tripods trying to catch them up, but there are 3 teams tied at 19th right now. So that means only 2 of them can technically go through in that top 20 spot. So they're all going to be fighting to try and get as much points as possible.
Yeah, still loads of time on the day for any of those teams to really step up and keep themselves in a top 20 position if they need to do so, and still tons of opportunity for anyone who wants to try and break their way in, as we take a moment to just appreciate Optic stats from match number 1 here on set. Dropped, you mentioned doing really big things for them.
Yeah, he's really changed the vibe, the mood, whatever you want to call it, on Optic Gaming, and they've become a winning machine once again. Didn't get the win there in game number 1, but certainly were involved in that top 3 fight. And I think Drop's game calls as the IGL, kind of co-IGL, and a little bit with Skittle Cakes. Good damage coming in from him as well. It was just the really, I thought it was almost a game-winning play when they took out Glitch Energy. They threw everything at that to take that spot away. But it was just the patience of Tripods that kind of caused them the problem. And yeah, it was a very good game from Optic, a huge amount of KP as well to go alongside it.
Yeah, I was wondering which team was going to be the one to take that perfect positioning off of Glitch Energy, because they were able to hold it for so long. And in the end, it was Optic who have an incredible match number 1, and Tripods, of course, with that first win. So that's going to be a great start for them. Hopefully also helping with the mental side of things and set them on a little bit of a snowball effect throughout the rest of the day. But we'll have to wait and see if that's the case, because it's time for a quick break. When we return, we'll be getting into match number 2 on Stormpoint for NA, match day number 9. Don't go anywhere.
WD Black, the official storage partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Apex Legends Global Series. Match number 1 is in the books, and it is Tripods who take home the first win of the day. And we saw this happen in EMEA as well, Daniel. If there were ever time to make a push to try and get yourself out of the bottom of the leaderboard into top 20, this would be it.
Sometimes teams just need to have their back against the wall, right? To really push them out of their comfort zone and make them do and play a little bit differently. For the EMEA region, it was seeing teams actually play with sheer aggression and having confidence and believing in themselves. And Tripods have not found a victory all season long, and now they do it here in what could be their final match day. But maybe they could extend that match day to regional finals if they were to have that dream run. It's definitely not out of the realms of possibility. I don't want to get fans' hopes up, but we'll have to see if this can carry on into match number 2. Certainly, at least they've put their best foot forward, and we'll have to see whether there can be consistency here, because now, of course, the circle could go to an entirely different area where maybe it's not going to pull towards you.
Definitely also seizing a little bit of an opportunity here when it comes to the fact that, you know, we're starting the day on Storm Point. It's always a little bit more chaotic, so that's going to be one match in the books that they can be very happy with as we get an opportunity to see the path here where everyone is now dropping down, and we'll wait to see where the zone pulls and see who it favors, because there's still 2 more games on Storm Point. Obviously, we're in match number 2 right now, which means that some of the chaos that we saw that didn't necessarily go the way of the likes of AGC, called out CLG for needing to step it up. They still have an opportunity to do that here.
Definitely still have an opportunity, and I think what was very telling was we went kind of southwest, and we saw Optic pick up big points. We saw Dog Zero pick up big points. We saw Tripod pick up big points. All 3 of those teams in the southwest area, there or thereabouts. You could say, you know, maybe just more west, but still, it really does matter where this circle is going to be pulling and taking advantage of those games when the circle pulled towards you. So in this game, we need to be looking at Dig. We need to be looking at EA, Exet, NRG. They all have the opportunities to be moving quickly to take some of those priority positions so that they can pick up big kills. And even if you don't find the victory, Optic just showed us you can still find those kills and you can still put big points on the board.
And this could actually be big for NRG as well. I mean, they are comfortable, team that's very comfortable being aggressive. We saw them, you know, going for those early game fights in match number 1 as well. And now that the zone is favoring them, they could have an opportunity here to really gatekeep a lot of the teams that are going to have to rotate in looking for some position. As I say that, we see Exet making a move early to nail down their spot in the zone as well. And this might be the one game that NRG needs to really get some massive points on the board and just kind of get into that top 10 bubble. We talked about the fact there's 2 bubbles here that we're focusing on right now. NRG definitely want to be in top 10.
Oh, of course. They want to push themselves up there, give themselves the best opportunity when it gets to those regional finals that they can then put themselves into playoffs without having to win. No one really wants to be in regional finals knowing that they have to win to get there, but there are going to be teams in that position. I'll tell you that for free. Here comes NRG, here comes Exet. You can see both of them are making their way up to where Dig currently resides. So on that eastern side of the trenches, a lot of teams are going to be trying to take that position, try and find a building that they can play with. Even E8 are making their way over as well, but E8 might have to bail on their skyward dive because of where NRG have just found themselves. So lots of early movers. Optic are joining, DZ are in the air, Oxygen are also in the air, 100 Thieves in the air. Everyone's skyward diving right now. We're seeing so much early movement, and this is very telling to how this circle is going to play out.
It will really just come down to who's able to nail down a solid area. I think we saw Exet moving in even closer to NRG on that top end of the ring. Now checking in with Oxygen, doing a little bit of a drive-by situation here. Some nice loot in the hands of OXG as well. And you can see just how close Exet and NRG have gotten.
Yeah, so 2 of the nuts have been taken. There are 3 available, and Dig instead have just taken the compound south, and they are just going to keep away, I think, from some of these teams. We did see already in the EMEA region that some of these nut buildings have been successful as holding points, and really teams have struggled to be able to push through them. Because the entry points are so difficult, you are choked out when you do try and push at teams. We see teams split up a little bit when they take fights against teams within these buildings, and that just allows the teams inside to really focus fire the damage and then often get on top of it. So it's a difficult position to try and push, and maybe that's why we're seeing these buildings as main focus points. Not only because the circle's been moving this way, but also because they can be quite strong buildings to hold.
Not to mention the proximity of all of them. I mean, if you push one, and even if you are successful, there's still the risk of someone else in the other nuts getting a third-party situation onto you that you really don't want to have to deal with. So they've managed to secure themselves a lot of space. You can see a little bit of a 2-1 split out of NRG as well, nailing down even more real estate for themselves as Exet is holed up and cozy in their own building. Dig has some massive space to work with right now, as you see 100 Thieves coming in on the top side of your screen. OXG still going on a little bit of a drive, getting themselves some loot along the way before they decide to pick a position. This is a much more controlled level of gameplay than what we saw out of EMEA.
Yeah, certainly from the early stages, it really does depend, of course, on how the circle is going to be. And this circle does open up quite a lot of areas to play. There are quite a few buildings. There's, you know, a few areas like this, the underground, close to the trenches where people can reside in as well. And even the trenches in general, people might be able to find themselves in for quite some time. So this is probably going to be a game where we're going to see 12 to 13 teams within the circle. And those who aren't able to rotate quickly are going to have to play edge, probably battle as they're making their way through the map. And we're going to see a lot of late arrivers struggling to find a position. But if they do find a spot, if they do fight their way in and take one of these priority positions off of someone, then you do tee yourself up for potentially a really strong game here. But this is going to be a slow burner, that is for sure, as we're going to see some teams move extremely slowly from the southern side of the map. Trident, by the way, are still down by Cenote Cave. LG are still down by Fish Farms. And Furia are still at Thunderwatch. They're still at their drop areas for the most part. They are looting, they are booting, they are giving themselves the best opportunity when they are going to have to take a fight.
Yeah, and right now, this is probably the best call for LG, especially Tripods. What we saw just happen with them in match number 1. They were very comfortable playing it nice and slow on the dead side of the ring, moving in as it collapsed down, and they didn't have to come across too many people. You can see how long of a rotate they're trying to make right here. They might come across CCE in the process. LG also just barely making it past CLG, but they don't need to push anything right now because there's so much space between them and the next circle that has no one in it, that they can let everyone else who's already gotten in there early kind of fight for that real estate and hopefully clean something up as they move in.
And the benefit of a circle looking like this with a congested POI means that if you don't have a ring console, but you do have a map room scan, you're going to get a rough idea of where this circle is going to be going. So if you are arriving late and you're only managing to find a map room, you're going to be very confident of where this is going. But there are a couple of teams who are just outside of that next circle. You can see Sorcerer, Karma, for example. The two players from those squads are going to be having to move into that next circle because they've not been able to find one of the priority positions. And that's when things get a little bit difficult. Either A, they didn't have the ring console information, or B, now we're starting to see all the retard being taken here by the squads.
Well, it seems that Tripods were able to make it past CCE, but now they've run into Glitch Energy over at downed B, so we'll have to see how Tripods decide to handle the situation. They're still in the red right now, taking some damage, and GE might be able to gatekeep them here off this position. They're going to be able to get those heals up. It will depend on how aggressively Glitch Energy want to push in and take this fight.
Well, if I know Aiden the Destroyer, I know that he's a man who's aggressive and likes to take fights. He was born and raised in the arenas, and now here in BRs has a massive opportunity to show what he's made of, and Tripods are very much in their sights here are Glitch Energy, but they are able to take the high ground. The benefit of having the Horizon, Tripods do not have that same benefit, and instead are just trying to stay alive and trying to avoid this battle of low versus high and trying to even out the fight a little bit.
You know that Glitch Energy is going to be anticipating this rotation out of Tripods as well. So right now, the best thing they can do is get themselves fully healed up and reset and at least get some information on where Glitch Energy is holding positionally here. You can see the potential, the thought process. Maybe they want to use the Seer to get the info. Right now, Glitch Energy is comfortable and they know exactly where they are. They can just hold them here.
Yeah, they're going to hold. This isn't going to be fun for Tripods, but they've been able to get themselves out of a few messes so far already today, and they might be able to do the same here. All you need is someone to really chunk an amount of damage to give you the confidence to push out, but they might have to second guess themselves a little bit just because they know Glitch Energy can consistently take the high ground off them. I wouldn't want to be in this position personally as a Tripods player. I'd want to be able to avoid this fight as best as possible, but I don't think they're going to be given the opportunity. It seems like Glitch have their eyes set on fighting Tripods wherever they try and exit.
While they're waiting for Tripods to go ahead and make that push, we're going to be acquiring some information. This is what you were talking about. Okay, they know they've got a team here. They might want to take this fight, but now they also have the information at their disposal for where they need to rotate through next. And will they decide it's not worth waiting around for?
If they've seen a spot, yeah. I think with the map room scan, you can get an idea of what positions are being held. I think the bad news is every position seems to have been taken, but they are jetting up into the sky. So perhaps Glitch Energy have seen an opening somewhere. You can see the pings are coming out now. Whether that's a ping of where they're landing or where their team is, that's going to be the big question. It looks like they want an area of the trenches, but reminder, this is not going to be in the circle. You can see that for yourselves. The good thing, Tripods at least avoid the fight. Tripods were able to hide away for long enough that Glitch Energy said, you know what, we can't be bothered anymore. Let's just let you do your thing. We'll see you later in the game.
Not only that, but now tripods at least know they've got a little bit of breathing room to work with, can also deal a little bit of annoying poke damage, because they're going to be the ones rotating in behind Glitch Energy, who will be keeping their eyes on where tripods decide to go from here. But they also have a couple people, we saw those pings coming out, that they might have to be worrying about when it comes to being in these trenches. So it'll be an important decision for when they decide to take that first fight. But now we're back over in the very busy portion of our next circle. Fury, I was watching them push in on that northern edge of the ring right now, find themselves potentially stuck between a lot of teams with some rocks to work with here, knowing that there's someone in front of them. They're going to have to hold a tight spot there.
One of the nuttiest areas on the map, it seems, at the moment. Still 20 squads and 60 players, by the way. No one has even been eliminated. We saw one knock happen. I think Nathan from NRG got knocked, but then has been picked straight back up. So everyone's still healthy and well. As I say that, drug-free finally get eliminated. It's going to be 100 Thieves who are able to get the final bleed out. They worked in tandem with NRG to make sure that we are going to see our first squad eliminated. But the main difference here for tripods compared to what we saw previously is they can't Valkyrie in. They have to move on just by foot, and that means it's going to be a more difficult rotation, especially when Glitch Energy have the Kraber to work with as well. Nick Merck's taken down first.
We knew that this fight was almost inevitable. It just depended on when it was going to go down. It looks like it is time for tripods to try and take it to Glitch Energy. Once they're down to a 2, you know Glitch is not going to let them live for much longer. This is when the push is going to happen, and tripods will likely be the second team out. But now there's lots of chaos that Glitch Energy's trying to work around. Reeds ends up going down. Aiden shortly follows. Now just Vayne left to try and keep Glitch Energy's hopes and dreams alive at the hands of Dark Zero. But the Kraber right now for GE is doing work.
Tripods from first place to 19th place. That's how quickly things can be ripped away from you here in these lobbies. And Vayne, the last remaining player for Glitch Energy, they held out for so long, but then they suddenly realized, oh, there's a lot more teams in the vicinity than just tripods at the moment, and Vayne is just going to have to try and stay alive. But let's be honest, I think as soon as he enters the zone, it's quite likely he's going to be griefed to high heavens. So it might have to be trying to rotate around and maybe even try and rotate north here, but it's whether you have the meds to do so. Dark Zero were the team that made it difficult for Glitch Energy. They got involved over here in the trenches, and it looks like Dark Zero will be able to come out on top and healthy as well.
And you know, this was the exact situation that Glitch Energy was worried about when they were putting those pings in, when they made the Valk rotate through. They knew there were other teams that were going to be in this general area, as well as worrying about tripods at their back. So this is probably a worst case scenario for them. Able to at least escape with one, so maybe you can get some points here on the Rat. But DZ, I mean, was not about to let anybody come into their space.
So this is a side of the map we've not seen as much of because everyone was taking their sweet time making their way from south to north. But finally now the rotators have clashed with one another. We said a lot, or I said a lot about CLG, and they need to make sure they perform today so they don't fall out of that top 20. But it looks like they're going to be having an engagement here and making sure they're hitting the shots as well. The scout doing the damage, but they have managed to get a knock on the other side. So CLG, are they going to retreat from this one, or will they take the fight? It looks like they're going to take the fight here.
Finding themselves in a little bit of a pickle, though. Lost Nano. Trying to get a heal off here from Mamba. Are they going to be able to push across and get a res and a reset here? It looks like they're definitely going to go for it. Done a good job zoning everybody off of their area. And this will be big for CLG. We see lots of ults coming in on top of the squad across the way. And this is exactly what CLG wants to happen.
Yeah, Kappa and Slayer just trying to escape, but CLG are not going to allow that. SCS get eliminated. CLG managed to win their first contest as they rotate, and it means they are now going to own temporarily the southeast side of this circle, but they will soon see that Rise are also in the area just a little bit further east, and they imagine they will have to fight them. And after that fight, then there's about 5 teams gatekeeping them on the map overhead. Glitch Energy, by the way, back up to 2, make it just 1. Aiden the Destroyer, the last remaining player, but for how long, as he's not going to have too much to work with as he's just been recently respawned. But Aiden the Destroyer, I've seen him do some crazy things before, but nothing today as Glitch Energy, they get eliminated.
That was a rough situation for Glitch Energy to deal with there, especially going up against DZ. Also, important to note, SCS gone out early twice now in our first 2 matches. A team that's
Ult, yep, ulting in the corner. 56 I'm stuck by this nade. I got a bat, I got a bat.
I might go down.
For the push, watch for the push.
I'm on a wall here.
Yeah.
stuck one, I think. No, I didn't.
I'm med kidding.
Shooting a fucking cactus.
Yep.
Hey, nades?
I have 1 arc.
On a rock, on a rock, on a rock. There's another team close.
Here, yep.
Holy shit.
Might have to swing this. Can we cycle swing?
We're gonna
Maybe?
cycle swing.
We have to,
Ready?
we have to.
Go. Nah, I'm just dead. Behind us.
Holy shit, bro.
Oh, man.
I just feel like we didn't get the fight. We were just fucking tucked in a corner.
Fuck, man.
I was worried about that.
There's actually quite a few teams looking to get in on the fight on the E8 side of things. So we'll have to see who ends up coming it out on top. You've got Oxygen down here. CLG going down at the hands of Oxygen. I was waiting to see how that one was going to play out, but there was not a lot of space for CLG to work with there.
No, not a lot at all. I think that's what a lot of teams have suffered as we've got to the latter stages of this game. It's just not having the room to play with, just using any sort of object they can hide behind, whether it just be a little tiny stone or a blade of grass, but it's not cover that's going to save you as the circle pulls in. E8 are starting to realize that now, as they hope they were going to be able to get the respawn, but they're going to be pushed. Good damage with the car, but it's AJC who want to get involved with this one.
This could be big for AJC, but we also have Optic waiting in the wings, if I'm not mistaken, and you know they are primed and ready to take on this opportunity. Third-party central here for Optic, and could give them a decent position to have to continue pushing into the next ring, so this is something they want to take, and as I say that, AJC does go down. Optic bullying their way into yet another spot.
But are they going to take the fight against Furia here? Over towards that cannon. That's one of the best positions to hold right now. It's the only real cover that is going to be in the final circle is that cannon, apart from just the rocks that are available as well. So Optic might look to try and take it, or they might try and play the rocks south as well, but I think there's going to be a lot more shots coming their way. This is a real tough decision for Optic, and I'm interested to see where they go with it.
I feel like they're definitely going to want to clear OXG out of this area, but they don't have a lot of playable space that Oxygen can't see, so it's definitely going to be a rough battle. Able to at least push Oxygen out for now. Oxygen deciding that it's better to just safely rotate in and maybe bunker down as opposed to taking that fight out.
That shit's happened to us playing that spot before too, where we got
this spot is
we got locked up on the wall looking at the choke.
Yeah, this spot's notorious for it. Is this zone pulling out?
Bangs here.
Yeah, this zone pulled out towards the small island, like near the dogs. Yeah.
Do we knew that it was going to be pulling out when the house was risen?
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe. No, I don't think so, because it happened earlier.
I do think that it's like, I will say like for like generally moving forward, it might be like a good idea. So like if we get opportunities like that for house, we do like consistently try to move away from choke, because choke does get like slammed.
Yeah, 100%.
That don't always happen.
Instead of playing that.
Yeah, then we just do the same thing that you're trying to accomplish here by holding out choke from building, because when this gets slammed and they fight, you do just come out and clear it.
On to both.
Right,
I'm
like,
here with you, Nox.
I have to bat.
Okay, I'm waiting.
I have the med kit too. Drop your alone.
He's in a knock. It's still 2 teams.
I'm doing it.
Yes. No, he's swinging your right. Drop.
I think
The
we
dog
wipe
died.
this
It's
and
last
look
guy.
right. Wipe this and look right. We'll have third.
It's still a full another team. It's still a full another team.
They're not dead. One's still ratting right now.
One guy.
I'm batting. It's still a full another team.
Nice, he died. No,
he's not. He's just playing in between.
The other team is armory full up.
I'm queuing him.
I got him on scan. Swinging his right.
There's one.
Dead.
We should wipe right and just get second, no?
3 squads.
I have 0 bats.
We can. I don't have shit either. Can we just hold? Can you just live here and hold?
Yes, we can just hold. Yes.
They're swinging our right. They're right there.
I'm holding it.
I have 0 bats right now.
I have like literally no heavy.
I have 0 shields.
Here.
Drop needs to loot for you. I held the right. I'm using my last bat.
They are not safe here. Can you watch left while I watch right? You watch left, Knock.
Yes, they're not gonna push.
They're gonna EMP and push. They're gonna EMP. I'm batting.
I'm batting through it.
They get me ulted.
I'm walling.
I'm one.
Yeah, wall. Good.
Play the right
I'm
side
about.
of the wall.
You need to break this drum. Break the fucking drum. I'm about to have 0.
I'm killing them the right.
I think they're pushing.
Batting again.
I got him on that scan.
Kill them, we get second.
Batting. They're in a bub, I think.
Close.
I'm about to 0 thing.
I'm batting. Try to hold.
Do not peek. Listen left. Shoot left. He went back. They're pushing our right.
At the bat.
I'm phoenixing on me. I'm playing safe here.
I'm gonna die.
We just need to kill these guys, right?
No, we're just dead.
Give me knockdown.
Bad up. I have to hold left. Just sit. Yeah. I have to hold left.
Yeah, just
these
play your
teams
life. They should fight.
Just AFK me and sit as far back as you can.
I'm just holding knock for you as well. I purple knockdown. I'm holding knock on your right.
Mine's gone.
Yeah, play my knock. Knock.
It's swapped. That's swapped.
I don't have a shield to heal with.
I'm gonna bleed out for a swap. I'm gonna try and bleed out for a swap.
They're fighting. You're gonna get second. Just play yourself.
One of these might be swappable. One of them might not be. I don't know.
I think that's a trade knock. That's a 2 knocks on one team. Yeah, it's a 1v2.
Nice,
1v2. 1v2. You win this. You win this.
Height.
No, nice try. Second place.
Guys, we just need to wipe the right. We were just brain dead right there. The left team is just
what
gonna
are
win.
we? What are we supposed to do though? You want us to like ape them?
We just wall, and then they have to run in the open. We just play our wall, and the other team.
But then they're just gonna, we're the team on the right or the left side is just gonna wrap behind us and shoot us in the back.
They did it anyways.
No, Nox right. We do need to ape them. I was just trying to wait till we were all ready to ape them. We were all like, one of us was cracked. You guys are both healing. I was holding the right. Then I got fucking thermited.
Me personally, I think the only reason that
and then it was just about holding Optic off, and they did very well to do that. Also, amazing play as well. The only Gibraltar that was in the lobby for Oxygen, and considering they are one of the bubble teams fighting for that 20th position, fighting for regional finals, they put up one hell of a stat getting to the top 3.
And there were a couple times on site where that Gibby came in incredibly useful for OXG.
Yeah, I think Storm Point kind of lends itself to Gibraltar, especially, I mean, first thing I have to say about that game, rough zone for all the teams, you know. And I think having Gibraltar in that situation was the perfect legend to have in your composition, because you're going to be able to create that false cover, use the bubble to buy a little bit of time. And I'm a little bit surprised to see a little bit of trepidation in if they wanted to push after the amount of damage they did on the Gibby ult that went down. But you're also in that position where it's like, are you going to push through a Dark Veil? There could be 3 players who are just LOSing you, waiting for one player to pop through. So you can understand that decision. Furia, though, they played it perfectly. They just consistently held angles, and then just at the right moment when they saw the damage done, they jump in to finish off the game. And it's very impressive. But yeah, rough zone is my takeaway from game number 2.
Well, you're talking about the rough zone, so we might as well take a look at the final moments. This time we get Furia's POV. Gaskin, let's walk us through it.
What's your analysis here, Mark? Rough zone, yeah, rough zone for everyone involved.
It's a rough zone.
It really was, though, and it was Furia who saw it was a rough zone, saw that there was realistically only one spot to be playing with an element of cover that would allow you to get to the final circle comfortably, and then they were just able to force these final 2 teams together, and it was about just kind of firing upon 3 players who had already taken damage. That there was never really going to be much fight back. What was good, what Furia did, was they provided cover as they pushed up. They constantly took space, using the rampart, making sure they had the ability to take angles so that they could add damage and force this fight from both of these other teams here.
They just did such a good job of managing all of their angles as well. We've even heard the chaos coming out of OXG. They were constantly switching their focus back and forth between Furia coming in on the side, swinging them and doing some damage, and then also having to worry about the solo off to the other angle in Optic Gaming. So it was a rough spot for OXG to be in, but Furia handled it perfectly. They got rid of the majority of Optic to clear out their side and give themselves a little bit of breathing room space, and then made sure they cleaned up the rest of the lobby. I mean, it was nice to see Furia having a really strong match number 2. I heard that, Dan, that was your official pick as well. So, I mean, you've got to feel good about that.
Officially, unofficially off the record, if Rain Day hadn't have stolen it, then that would have been my pick for today to watch. And for good reason. Look at the damage that just came out of these guys as well. And realistically, if you put Furia in a final circle, they are always going to be a threat, because they are such incredible players, not just individually, but they work well in tandem together. You saw how they were moving across the map with one another, and how they were taking fights, watching the right angles, making sure they were prioritizing certain players as well. They all seem to be shooting the same thing at the same time, and it really is a pleasure to watch when Furia are playing at their very best.
And that's really reflected in their damage here as well, with almost identical numbers across the board, and 10 kills going their way on top.
This idiot's just shooting his scout at my walls. Why? What's the point?
Win for 22-point game onset. That's gotta feel good.
It's got to feel good. You're completely right. And I think Furia, the one thing that stands out for me just in the way they play that end game, when you have a zone which doesn't provide much natural cover, a rampart is a perfect legend to have as well, because you can just walk up, place a wall down. If you walk into open space, if someone swings you and is like, hey, they're on the open, and then you see the rampart wall going down, it just completely throws off what was your first decision that you've made to engage in that fight, and all of a sudden you've got to back down and kind of, you've got the zone closing behind you. It causes problems.
Dude,
but Optic, another strong game from them, involved in the end game once more. Luminosity, a decent amount of points for them, and actually scraping points together.
Oh, he must have been that rat most of the run. I'm pretty sure they got 5th on the first round from ratting.
Oh my god, Optic is absolutely disgusting. Holy shit.
He's 36 flash.
Good zone call though, you called it perfectly. Yeah.
Last guy.
I think it's actually better to play our side than the nut.
Luminosity eliminated.
Well,
he said it was like going on top of the nut.
Yeah.
I thought he said it was the water. I thought he said it was the
EU,
water.
no, it kind of ended like out in the water at the very end, but it pulled like very hard to the nut. Like the nut was in almost the whole zone.
And it was probably like the best spot to, like that team probably won the game.
Yeah.
Like you just have to fight so much if you play the nut, because there's gonna be a team in each nut. So I don't think playing our side was bad.
No, playing our side was good. I actually liked it.
10th, not a very big points margin. Obviously only 2 matches in onset, but it's still anybody's game.
Still, yeah, very much anybody's game. We're only a third of the way through today's action. We've still got another Storm Point game to get done and dusted before we move on to World's Edge. But Optic, that is again a statement couple of games from them. I said, I think it was week 2 when I saw, drops getting picked up at the start of the season. This team has got everything they need to be, successful, and they just needed that clear leadership and the belief put back into them. There's so much skill on the team that it's undoubtable how good they're going to be. And I think just the leadership of drops has really helped them out a little bit. And I think now that they've got that confidence back, Optic are just looking scary again.
Well, things are not slowing down anytime soon. Match number 3 is already ready to go. So let's see if Optic can do it yet again, or if somebody else decides to step it up.
All right, then, let's get into it. Storm Point, we've got one more map to go here before we move over to World's Edge. And I've got to say, Optic have looked almost flawless in certain circumstances, Dan. They haven't got the win quite yet in those end games, but the fact that they're always there, and they're never just there with like 0 KP or 1 or 2 KP. They've always got 6 or 7, and they've fought for that spot where they believe is going to be the game-winning position.
I was going to say, well, who needs the wins? Well, when we get to match point, they probably will need a win if they want to call themselves champions. But for now, it's just about making sure you're getting those points on the board to have you as high as possible on those leaderboards so you can pick up those points and maybe go into those regional finals at the top spot, or at least close to it. And then maybe when you get to playoffs, you can be the team that everyone is worried about. Are Optic Gaming going to be back? Are they going to be a real threat when it comes to international competition? It certainly looks like they are getting more confident week by week here, and we'll have to see whether that confidence carries on here into match number 3. We haven't had any contests in the early stages, so it is just going to be about looting and booting in these early areas. But really, are we going to see a circle that really changes things for how teams are going to have to rotate here? We've seen, of course, 2 circles that have made it difficult for those who have had to move a long old way from like the southeast, for example, like LG. Maybe this one's going to be a little closer for them.
Yeah, it could well be. I think LG are going to have a much better access to this one. We could be looking at, I was going to say, Antenna or somewhere like that. The building's just to the north of it. But, I mean, you're looking at Rise. They've got a great priority position over a launch pad to get in a good position in this zone. Oxygen's always a team I keep my eyes on to see where they're going to be heading towards zone. Exet as well. Got a couple of slow games, which is, normally you wouldn't talk about too much. A team who's been playing so well throughout the season, but it's kind of a standout, right? Except very rarely have bad games, and to see them 2 back-to-back games where they haven't put a huge amount of points on the board, somewhat of a surprise. But as I say, we're only 2 games in of a 6-game series, so a lot of time for them to put that right.
I always do wonder what it does to your mentality as well when you see a graphic that you are the only team in the region that has guaranteed your spot at playoffs. Does that make you relax a little bit? Does that make you maybe not play 110%? I know that there are teams that definitely are teams like that who are just like, oh, well, we've done enough. Let's just chill and have fun and try and enjoy ourselves. And sometimes that means you won't be at your very best. Some teams, that makes them relax and makes them play better. That's why I love esports and why I love Apex as well, because you've got all these different variables that do come into the equation when it comes to really important match days like this one. So teams that are going to be loving this circle, Oxygen. They had an amazing match number 2. They are a team who are fighting for that 20th position and higher for the regional finals. And if they can utilize the Gibraltar once again to put them in prime position for a final circle, then they really could be laughing at the teams that are below them trying to catch them up.
Yeah, I think Gibraltar's going to have an impact on this zone as well. I mean, no big POIs involved. You can see the launch pad's kind of cut in half. You can see antenna's kind of cut in half. So that dome might be, again, a potentially game-winning ability to have. A little bit of a stutter step. Oh my goodness, what on earth just happened there? Anyway, 0 POV. Things getting funky here in Apex land.
It was almost very interesting situation, just trying to run over his teammates. But okay, yeah, now we're back on track, back in the Trident, and Dark Zero can start to make their move across the map. As you said, we've only got one Gibraltar here, so we're not going to see a Gibraltar bubble on this Trident. Like to see some trick shots, and oh, I'll tell you what, that is finally woven through the middle. And now Dark Zero, they're a squad who have always shown us like innovative ways of playing the game, and with the change and with Rambo being a part of this squad, I'm always excited to see what they're going to do, how they rotate, how they fight as well. There's so much more to dive into for Dark Zero as they move forward, and if they do end up being the 3 that goes to LAN, I think that Rambo adds so much to a squad when it comes to confidence building, when it comes to just sheer momentum at LAN events with his presence as well. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, we've got potential drive-bys going on right now. We're seeing a couple of cars chasing each other. It's like we're watching a little bit of Police Academy towards the end of it. That's an old film. Just showed my age. Dark Zero, though, they're going to take a little bit of a different approach now. They're going to go right down to the southern side of things, and this is pretty smart. This is good planning. I think they will be more than aware that Shipfall is going to be free here, and there's not going to be a team located here because Oxygen, we always talk about very quick rotator, night to get to zone nice and early, and that's where they land. So they're going to have a much clearer rotate all the way around the southern side of the map, Dark Zero, and that's what we talk about when it comes to planning. What teams are in your lobby? How do they play? What POIs are going to be clear when you're making your timings on your rotation? And Dark Zero got that down to a T.
I will say it's a lot of there's a lot of responsibility as the driver of a Trident as well. You know full well on set that I am not typically the driver for good reason.
Dan hit boost immediately when getting Trident gaskin. Yeah,
yes,
I know you.
And then I don't have a boost available for when a team is shooting us, and also seem to hit every rock and ledge that's available. As for Dark Zero, it's been a very smooth transition, not too many hitches and bumps, and they'll be able to make their way into the desired position that they're trying to go for, as Luminosity now trying to catch a team on their rotation.
Oh, that's going
to be Rambo.
Rambo going down. He almost managed to get away there, and I thought for a second they just managed to turn that corner, Dark Zero, and Rambo had managed to just escape through the smoke, but they caught him on the backside. The Cyrol's going to go down as well. Zero and Jim Burton not inside of it at the moment, though, so they won't be showing up. They won't have that wall hack information. Yan, you're going to be throwing in a couple of arc stars, though, and you can see they want to push on this one, but this is a dangerous push to make. Rambo has been finished off, though, by Jaguares. And LG, no, this is a priority position. This building is good for endgame. And if they can take it off of a weakened Dark Zero with just 2 players, they might be set up for success.
Well, I know that Dark Zero have done unspeakable things in various different games, but a 2 versus 3 against Luminosity should not be an engagement they win. LG just need to think about this one carefully. They've got utility, they've got nades to work with, and they just need to make sure they push together and don't allow any fights to be isolated. Here they go.
117, but there's a knock. Is there a trade coming in now? It should be pretty simple work for them. Dark Zero will be eliminated, and I've got to say, it's always scary for me to see teams making such a long rotation when they're taking the Trident. I feel like you can kind of drive to a point, but the fact that you've got to disengage from a Trident, it takes about 3 or 4 seconds to get on the floor before you're even guns up or able to use abilities, whatever it might be. Sometimes it can cost you, and you've just seen the difference there, right? A couple of seconds difference for Dark Zero, and they get into this building and they're holding it down with LG looking in, but LG got that knock onto Rambo, and that's the difference. E8 also eliminated. Again, it's just E8 really have struggled to find momentum in any of these games that we've seen so far in the Pro League. They had a couple of decent weeks, you would say, but apart from that, with the talent that's on that roster, it's somewhat surprising to see it not click.
And they're another one of the teams that are around that top 20 position as well. If they were to struggle today, there are teams that could potentially push them out. They might be okay, but it's certainly going to be a difficult time for them if they don't put some points on the board, because other teams are going to be very much chomping at their heels. I do agree with you, by the way, about the Trident. Like, the further you go, the more at risk you feel like someone's probably heard you and might be tracking you. So you do have to sometimes just bail a little bit early and accept you've got far enough. Otherwise, that can happen. It's a shame for Dark Zero. It seemed like they had just done enough to get around that corner, but now they're just going to have to wait. They're going to have to watch, and they're going to have to think about match number 4. So Optic are still making their rotation as well. They've got, of course, the ability just to craft and make sure they've got all of the utility they might need going into the later stages of the game as the circle pulls even further southeast.
Just craft that, and then we'll go. Just craft your armor gun. There's
So
a
the teams that
bill
have
right
already
there,
found
by the way.
themselves in those areas, like Oxygen, like XSET, like LG, are all going to wait and just watch teams maybe crumble as they approach this next zone.
Yeah, they might have an ability to scan as well, get a bit more information as they move through the southern side of things, if they choose to continue on their southern route. At the moment, they're just checking their back, and they're worried about if there's any teams still behind them in that zone, and we've seen a lot of teams playing in that zone, especially in Zone 2. Some of the lobbies we've seen already in both EMEA, Fire Beavers, and North America. So we'll have to see if Optic continue on a southern rotation or if they're going to continue maybe a little bit more north. But for now, they're going to be safe. There's nobody really around them, and I think they are going to be playing for information. Tripods are the closest team to them, and they're all the way the other side of Barometer for now. So Optic safe, Optic good. 18 squads remaining. As we take a little bit of a look over here at Antennae to see 100 Thieves, who are just in the top right-hand side of your screen, making their rotation. And speaking of tripods, here they are, and looking pretty healthy.
There's also a very caveman of view of Optic safe. Optic good.
Safe. Yes.
But I do feel like, you know, Tripods, they had that incredible game one, right? They would have been on top of the world, being able to get that victory in their first victory in Pro League as well, from what I can remember. But then you get game number 2, where you fall out in 18th, 19th position, and it very quickly sends you back down to earth, where you realize, okay, maybe this isn't going to be that miraculous day. However, if you can get a bounce-back game in match number 3 here, it just does give you that confidence again that maybe that is still alive, the dream can still happen. But if it doesn't, if it's not another victory in matches 3 or 4, that's when you start to think, okay, maybe we're looking at other things. Maybe we're looking at relegation, the LCQ battle, for example. Furia have made their way in, and they will hold the top of this area for now at Stormcatcher with a team below them, may I add.
Yeah, I wondered, it's a little bit surprising to see Drug Free not hear that Valkyrie ult and look up to the skies and do a little bit of damage, especially with Fury just landing above them. And now Drug Free have decided they want to just get out of there, because they're probably aware that Fury is the team who's rotating. Obviously, landing at the northern point of the map, anyone who's rotating down from that position is probably going to be Furia. So you would say a somewhat smart decision to maybe get out of there. You don't want to fight against Furia if you can avoid it, especially this early into the game.
Yeah, I think that avoiding fights, especially when you know you're going to have to make a move rotation-wise, isn't the... You know, it's not the craziest thing in the world and the craziest strategy. At the same time, for Drug Free, they had a disappointing previous game where they were the first team to go out and be eliminated. They're currently 17th in the standings, so another team that's potentially vulnerable to being pushed out of the top 20, so you can understand why they're not taking the biggest risks here. I think this is one of the biggest differences between EMEA and NA today, is there was only really one team that was vulnerable, maybe 2 in EMEA. However, there are 4 or 5 teams that are vulnerable being pushed out of the top 20 here today in North America, and that means it's very touch and go when it comes to some of these squads.
Drug Free have spotted the move, though, coming in from Furia, and even though Furia have certainly got an armor advantage in this fight, Drug Free have got some pretty nasty head glitches to play around here, and it'll be very difficult for Furia to pinpoint those heads and take him down. So as the zone starts to close, both teams will be safe. But you can see for yourselves at home, here's Watson and Pandas. Already got those purple Evos. Zeratricky's got himself a gold armor as well. Sorcerer and Azura, though, they've only got the blues to work with.
I wonder if they do get kind of a shield check here and maybe think about taking the fight if they do manage to do a little bit of damage. Furia certainly aren't leaving, that's for sure. They're not running away. They are staying within an area here where they could take the fight if it's presented to them. But they're also just waiting and seeing where their zone is going. There's no point moving too quickly now and then getting caught out on your rotation when you don't really know where you're going to be moving. But as round 2 closes, they will get round 3 information in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, to get that map room scan, so they should have a pretty good lay of the land of where the teams are rotating and where they believe that end zone is going to be. And this is slightly risky from them, but it's well timed as well, because I think there was a little bit of an engagement, just a temporary couple of bullets fired between the 2 teams who were actually in front of them there, and Furia timed the Valcult perfectly and managed to get out of that situation and into a much better one. However, you can see from the passive of Valkyrie here, there's a lot of teams stacked up, and Zeratricky taking a fair bit of damage on his way down.
Yeah, this is not going to be much a better situation. There are teams waiting for them, and Furia already lose 1. Tripods are there waiting. Deeds gets the first. Zeratricky now the last remaining player, and this is going to be the end of Furia, you imagine. Unless Zeratricky can do some tricky things, will not Furia get eliminated. They tried to go for a difficult rotation, and you can see why it was so difficult. Too many teams in that area.
Yeah, very, very tough. You saw just taking the damage, and Tripods, the beneficiaries. I think a couple of KP certainly went their way during that engagement. NRG.
Oh, you can if you want. All right, fine.
Excuse me. No,
yo, good job, man. Good fucking job. You guys are playing so good today.
Okay, his teammates of NRG playing center zone for now.
No fine.
Dropping gaming.
Come here.
What we just saw from Furia. The question is it going to be the same result? This time they swerve away at just the last second.
There is still going to be teams, though, that are going to be aware of their presence. And again, you just find yourself between so many teams here, and it's never going to be fun when you are shot before your gun even gets pulled out.
Well, they managed to do enough damage to Oxygen to at least keep themselves alive in this game. Stunny and Stompy is going to be in a position to maybe hold this position for a little bit longer than they would have thought. But Tripod's also having a look at this. We see the CQs going out, which are not only going to give armor checks, but also give information that it's just a duo playing under that tunnel. NRG having a look at this as well. You can see Sweets just having a little swing through the water. Oxygen Esports made that quick rotation we saw from the Trident a little bit earlier. Team Inters, excuse me, have been eliminated in the meantime, but the difference between the quick rotation that Oxygen have made this time and the game we saw them involved in the end game last time is the armors are not quite looking as healthy.
I wonder if we're going to see another rotation quite similar on that eastern side, and it being just out of the frying pan into the fire like so many of the other squads have found when they make that big drop onto this eastern side. You can see how congested it is over here, but all these teams are gonna have to move west. The circle is pulling back west side, and at the moment 100 Thieves are sat wham bam center of that circle, but all of these squads are gonna have to fight as they move. It is gonna be mayhem after round 4.
Yeah, some tough decisions are gonna have to be made by teams. Tripods riding high after the game 1 victory. Maybe brought back down to earth a little bit after game number 2, though, with 0 points on the board. But some decent shots coming in. Nick Merckx trying to do a little bit of damage, but again, it's going to be the Catalyst walls there that are going to present that hitting bodies. And you're looking at rotational characters here. Who are the legends on the team that are going to allow you to get out of these difficult positions? Catalyst certainly one of those. If you can get a Dark Veil down and find yourself walking across the zone, denying LOSs, then you can find a spot before everyone else. But it looks like Tripods want to take this fight with CLG. They've looked at this more than once, and you get the feeling they want to engage.
Do really want to engage, and I will reiterate that realistically Tripods would have to win this match day if they were to get into the regional finals. They can't really afford to even get a 3rd place. 2nd place might be enough, but again, it will depend what happens on those teams around 20th position. So there's still so much to do here, especially how well Optic have been playing, holding that 1st position right now. As I say that, Optic gets knocked. Skilled Cakes has also gone down, but Optic are fighting back somewhere. NRG versus Optic is happening on screen.
Here. I'm not here. Whole team is run.
Eliminated, though. It was an electric start to the day for them, but game 3 just puts the brakes on for a few seconds. Nathan is down, but a gold res is certainly going to make that look a little bit better.
Whole team on me, bang, Horizon's here. God damn it, man, what are they doing?
Out of the game for now.
Who's the team shooting us?
But NRG continue as a 2. Tripods have been eliminated, though. They get pushed.
What was it? It was a duo?
And it won't be another game to remember for them. We're into the top 10 here. NRG still involved.
AJC also taken out. They're another team who were in that kind of bottom 10 who had a chance to break through into the top 20 today, but it's looking increasingly less likely as we get further on with AGC. That's 3 games now. They've struggled to get further than the top 10 and really make a shout at getting to a final circle. But speaking of final circles, as this circle shifts west and slightly northwest from a lot of where these squads are, 100 Thieves, again, still sitting pretty in the center of the circle. And at the moment, as long as they're not challenged in the early areas, they may be able to just watch on all these teams that are rotating late and potentially could pick up a lot of KP. But this is where we're going to see the kill feed come to life a little bit. We're going to see 6 teams, 4, 5 teams all move from this eastern side across together. Are you going to have a Valkyrie ultimate to work with? Do you have to go by foot? Some teams are going to have to go by foot because they don't have a Valkyrie.
Yeah, really like this position for Except for this final zone as well. You can see they're trying to overlook these fights that are going down. Question is, are they going to swoop in? Are they going to get the checks with the CQ to show that they can move?
Man, this could have been a sick ass fucking.
Or are they just going to try and eliminate these players as they move?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was your fault or not. It's just weird.
Except make the 2nd decision. Big damage coming in. It's time for us to jump into a listen in at just the right time with Except.
Here, one side, here, one side! We gotta give you ulti. Careful. It's ulti. Knocked one. You're dead. Clear space. I got a bat. I'm batting also. I can't want us. Okay, safe on me. Really safe on me too. one, kill one.
Where?
On me.
Stop. Shred it.
Got on.
Armor swap.
Zero to us.
Trying to get him up,
I'm crouching.
They're on the other side.
Yep, 70. I'm watching. Just heal, I'm watching.
Do you need a medkit, Knock?
No, I just need to focus on healing. Or watching.
Just heal.
You're good. Heal now.
He's right
You can
here
come
on
to
the
us. The
wall.
headies are here. The Cyril's going. Come to us, Knock.
Okay.
These headies are insane.
On this rock.
Okay. We're still safe, boys.
They're rezzing here. They're rezzing.
Okay, play it slow.
All right, well we got 20 points on SB. We gotta have a better world's edge.
Crypto.
I'm crouching. Shredded.
Knocked.
Shoot the Watson.
I'm
Watson
watching
one.
Right. Make sure we watch our right too.
Yep.
Knock there.
Okay.
We kill that.
Nade. I'm pushing this.
I'm killing. I'm walking up with you.
I'm betting. Cracked one.
It's your push.
I didn't.
Dead.
You gotta walk up.
I'm back. I'm giving back, Brendan.
Heavy ammo here.
He's not really weak. No, he's weak. Nice. He died.
I can portal out.
They're not pushing.
We're getting angle from the side.
Take my portal.
I dropped my armor.
It's fine, just heal our res.
What do you gotta shoot?
No, I got it. I have to grab my armor.
Fine.
I have no meds at all.
Here, dropping you cells.
I'm dropping cells.
I don't have a mech kit or a bat.
Medkit, bat. We're still in.
Yep, we're still in.
Am I in here?
How long the port?
I don't know. It's at 9% right now.
Okay. Do you need ammo?
I need energy and batteries. You're getting shot right now.
Yeah.
They're still safe in that corner, by the way, so they're chilling.
Here.
Yep.
Energy. Cells.
Thank you.
Bats.
There's a car and a... You have a good head glitch on me, a good ass heading.
Just holding.
Yeah, just chill.
I'm ultimate safe on me here.
2-7, 2-7 by the way, boys, 2-7.
I'm gonna be 2-7 as well. I'm hitting a syringe.
Wait, can we kill this team right here? I'm nading this.
Wait. Yeah.
I'm throwing a nade at this. I only did 17. Should we break that gen right here?
We could play it, I think.
Wait, is there a team there?
There's no one there.
I don't see anyone.
There's a rat right here.
Where?
In this corner.
Kill. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
That
was Gildy.
He had a white armor. I have 3 cells, no bats, no mech kits.
Here's a bat.
Wait,
cat line out on us.
I don't think they're pushing.
They walled us. They just walled us off.
Yeah. Cirque, where is it?
I got the ult.
Shredded.
You're good.
I'm red.
Healing. They're gonna push us. Use Cyril.
I don't Cyril. No.
Okay.
A lot of damage.
Dead.
A lot of damage. Last guy. It's 1v1.
He died the zone.
No, he didn't. Give me.
Well, Exit eliminated, but what a run that was. Glitch Energy now making their run towards this endgame. 2 squads remaining. They're going to clean up the final pieces that are left, and Glitch Energy will close out game number 3 here on Storm Point. Lawrence Pick looking pretty strong in that game down.
Yeah, after a frustrating match 2, Glitch Energy make up for it here in match number 3 by getting that victory, but what a series.
We know that they're a duo and just clear them out, but that's pretty tough.
Yo, take a peek at the scoreboard though. It's really even. Like it's evened out.
Yeah, it is.
Like if we get 2 points, then we're top 3. It's crazy right now. So let's just play our game. AJC's in 14th too, man.
Picks
like
that are coming in
down bad.
can really find their niche moments to make a difference here, Lauren.
I mean, I'm happy with the performance that we're seeing out of Glitch Energy right now. I feel like they have... I talked about their stats earlier. I feel like they've really nailed down a strategy that works for them well on Storm Point, and they kind of did what they needed to do. Now we head into World's Edge and see if they can continue that performance up and get themselves in a top 10 spot, which is where they obviously want to be. But I can't get over how well Exet was handling a lot of the chaos there at the end, because they were constantly having to back off and heal. They had to clear out so many teams around them. They had a little bit of help, I think, from 100 Thieves on a couple angles, but the IGLing in a lot of those moments was really, really impressive on behalf of Exet, Mark.
Yeah, one thing that impressed me in that end game as well was like that the comms, even though they sounded urgent, were never clustered. And sometimes you hear teams like everyone's trying to speak over each other, but it was short, it was clear, it was concise. And in those pressure moments, you need that. Like you can get kind of carried away. You're like, my information is the most important. it's not for you to decide if that information is the most important in certain times. It's down to your IGL to make that call, and you just kind of feed the information that you see. You only have to say it once or twice. You don't have to repeat yourself constantly, because that's when the comms start to get muddied. And like you say, great navigation and the communication, and they were so close to executing on that final fight as well. I think the one miscomm that came in is he's going to die to zone, and then Nocturnal was like, wait, he hasn't died to zone, I'm fighting a guy. So it is those small things. It's a good example of what's great and also how it can kind of go the wrong way sometimes.
There's just a lot to be juggling in those final moments. We'll take a look back, though, at the highlights from the entire match, because this was a good way to close out Stormpoint, Gaskin.
Yeah, it was. It was a little bit slow at times as people were trying to find methodical ways to inch their way into zone, and we also saw then the kind of out of the frying pan into the fire moments where people were Valkyrieing to the eastern side and then just getting absolutely obliterated as they landed, and it seemed like no one could really learn from the team before them because there was no other way to rotate through. Again, another difficult final circle for some of these teams to try and maneuver their way into, but the fights that were taken and won by certain squads really defined how many points they could achieve. NRG kind of wormed their way into the top 4. You saw the rat that was finally alive, and we heard an interesting count of 3-2-0, which I've never really heard that many times, except when I'm playing with Onset and I've already fired on 3.
Oh, well, is that true? Onset?
Couldn't possibly comment without a lawyer present. I mean, it has happened, let's be real. But I mean, except this is the end game that was the most impressive for me. And one thing that always stands out to me is when you see players like baiting and switching so well. Like Nocturnal could have quite easily walked around that corner and took that engagement to his death. You know, he goes in the RE45, he gets the shield break, does a little bit of damage, and realizes I don't need to finish this. I got a teammate with me. We can both stay much more healthy. But Nocturnal in this final fight there, you could see it was very, very close. But with the damage being done by Exet, it was a very simple endgame for Glitch Energy. They were the ones who had the quiet side of the zone. They were able to walk up. But I think the story that kind of gets washed away a little bit there was the performance of NRG, because it looked like for the majority of that game, they were kind of in a bit of a shambles, but managed to get the res in. We caught it on the replays there, managed to get into it, like Dan was saying, I think it was top 4, top 3 position, and then they had some KP to go alongside it, so that could go a long way to NRG really solidifying their position.
Yeah, they were in a tough spot many times. I mean, the gold knockdown shield definitely helped a lot in some of those resets. They were able to get a res as well. So they did the best with a bad situation. We'll have to see what it does for the overall points in just a bit. But before we do that, let's bring in someone to chat with a little bit. I'm very excited because we have one of the foremost analytical minds in the Apex Legends scene. Also, obviously, strategic coach for TSM. Raven, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now I've got to ask you, obviously, we've got to talk about yesterday. Fantastic performance, completely brought things back for you guys. And I even saw a clip on social media of Verhulst talking to Fallout about how when it comes to strategy for TSM, you are just on another level. Like you were just playing chess the entire time while everybody else is playing checkers. So what was yesterday like for you?
Yesterday felt great. It felt like a culmination of the things we've been working on. So being able to see all that come together felt awesome.
I'm going to jump in off the back of that because you're smiling. I know why you're smiling as well. It's because you're wearing the greatest jersey in the world right now. Although it's different. It's been a very emotional few weeks for all of us, Raven, hasn't it?
Well, you got it for me, so you know. Shouts out to you.
Look, I've got to. I know you support Arsenal. I've got to support them because of London, right? But I got to say, it has been an emotional. You know, I'm going to take Arsenal out of this for a few seconds. Let's talk about the season, right? It's been a very tough, up and down season for you. But you were talking about the culmination of the work that has gone in and everything finally starting to click. I mean, at what point during the season did you feel like? Did you ever feel like it wasn't going to click? Like there wasn't going to be that moment that we've kind of found to be synonymous with you and your team is at some point it always does, even if it's at the last second, TSM always pull a result out of the bag. Did you feel like that was going to happen this split, or honestly, did you feel like maybe this wasn't going to be your split?
Oh, of course, everyone has those thoughts. Like I'd be lying or delusional to say otherwise. Everyone has those thoughts, and it's impossible not to have them. The key is to just set them aside. You know, you just have to have faith at the end of the day. Or else why even show up, right? Might as well just not even show up if we think we're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough environment that your players and yourself were put in, where maybe there was the doubt in the back of your mind that maybe you wouldn't be at LAN, and, you know, the job's not quite done yet. So what does everything look like right now in preparation for those regional finals? What are you looking at? Is there any sort of strategy that's going into it? Is there any sort of like teams you're looking at, or is it literally just focus on yourselves and making sure that the mentals are good?
Yeah, we're going to focus on ourselves. Obviously, there's always the possibility that people are going to like target us or contest us, but we'll be prepared either way. So otherwise, the game plan is just to be aggressive, to not, you know, play like a baby behind a rampart wall. So.
Shots fired. All right, well, Raven, we have you here, so we're going to be putting your big brain to the test. All right, we're going to be showing you the final circle from our last match, and I want you to walk us through the good and the bad that some of these teams did that you can catch when we go through everything and how it played out in those final moments. Are you up for that?
Sure. I'll do a little play-by-play. Why not?
All right, let's get into it. Tell us what you are seeing here.
So I actually can't, one second, I gotta move my mini-map. It's a top 3 situation. Usually when you're in a top 3 situation, you don't want to be the first team to have to fight, but if you can get a pinch off, that's ideal, right? And it looks like that Glitch Energy does have all the high ground here. If you look to their east, their position is like elevated relative to everything to their east. So as long as they pinch all of those teams, force them into low ground to each other, the game is pretty much set. And yeah, it looks like they managed to do that. They push forward and clean it up, and yeah, done deal.
It really has been a day of patience for a lot of these teams, and you could see what happened with Glitch Energy here. Obviously able to close things out. 17 points, not too shabby, but this is a massive surprise for me. SES 13 kills? I don't even think I realized it was 13 kills.
Yeah, looks like they had a great game.
I mean, this is a performance that we were talking about they would have absolutely needed here, Gaskin, because this is something that could save them when it comes to getting some points on the board.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of teams that are desperate for points right now, and if you can put yourself in a situation where you are getting the victories, then at least you are going to be impressing those around you and maybe scaring those around you as well. It is a massive dogfight in around the top 20 at the moment. 4 or 5 teams that really need points. You can see SES and the damage that they were able to put down in match number 3 as well. I mean, over 2,000 for 2 of the players. That's always a sign of a good game.
I mean, we need more of this if that's the performance that SCS is capable of. As we take a look at the second page here, I mean, we saw that DZ did go out early in this match, and that was at the hands of LG, which is huge for LG on. So they've had a really solid performance here so far. Yeah, LG were on the outside looking in. They weren't in one of those guaranteed qualification spots for the playoffs. So LG, who had, let's just say, a turbulent week last time that we saw them on our screens involving Optic Gaming, but that situation seems to have been sorted for sure, and everyone can play their game in the way that they would want to. They are looking like they're putting those points on the board that they need to, but again, it's becoming so tight in and around those 11th place qualification spot that you can't afford to slip up, because the teams that are around you will take advantage. So the pressure really is on these final 3. But we're talking about just how close these standings are, Raven. Let's take a look at the series results. Is anything surprising to you as we see where everybody kind of is right now?
As for surprising, not necessarily. I think Glitch Energy, I'm hoping that they do absolutely terrible, obviously, because that does not benefit us at all, but they're a great team. They're capable players. Not surprised to see Optic at the top 2. They had a good couple zones the first 2 games, and they're also a fantastic team. So yeah, I'm surprised by SCS, 5th place. They also are playing with a new third or a sub in Koifel, who's also apparently a very underrated player. So I'm really excited to see his development.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw that reflected in this last match for sure. And like you were saying, Onset, ties galore, single points separating these teams. So World's Edge is going to be an absolute game changer for so many of these squads. But Raven, thank you so much for jumping on and chatting with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Anything you want to say before we let you go?
Hashtag TSM win.
I thought for a second there you were going to tell me to trust the process, but it was...
also that hashtag trust the process, baby.
All right, we love it, Raven. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
All right, it's always very enjoyable to be able to catch up with Raven, but if you guys think this competition is cool and you want to get yourself involved, well, we have to talk about the Challenger Circuit, okay? Because registration will open for Challenger Circuit number 3 on May 2nd. It will run from May 27th to the 29th, and you do not want to miss out on this opportunity, okay? We have seen teams make their way into ALGS from the Challenger Circuit, and this could be your opportunity to be up on the big stage. You can head on over to battlefy.com/ALGS to get yourself all signed up. And of course, it is available in all of our regions. So make sure you do that. Don't want to miss any of that action. It's going to be very, very cool. But it is almost time for us to continue on with our action. We'll be switching on over to World's Edge, which means it's time for you to get a break, Gaskin.
All right, see you later.
We'll see you in just a little bit. Enjoy. He's already gone on set. All right.
The best bit is, Lauren, he's only like 2 feet away because he's panicked as soon as he stood up that he's going to have to come back. So he's just stood there like weirdly next to his desk. Just like, do I leave? Do I not leave? Am I going to be needed? There he is. Tell us, see? You knew it was going to be weird. One thing with Dan Gaskin, you always know it's going to be weird.
Thank you for catching that, production. That was perfect. All right. Well, now that he's officially off on a break, we'll review the map schedule really quickly. Like we said, we just had our first 3 matches on the day, which means that is Storm Point now done and dusted. 3 different winners across the board, and we'll be switching things on over to World's Edge. This could definitely benefit a lot of the teams that we have in our lobby here today, so we'll have to see if that is going to change things up or if we'll continue to see a little bit of a resurgence of some of the squads that were middling a little bit or towards the bottom, starting to have some better performances.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of teams who are going to be a little bit nervous going into World's Edge. The reason for that is it's not because they're not confident on the map. It's not because they haven't had the results. It's because of how the leaderboards look at the moment. And I think that if you are looking at those leaderboards overall, outside of the top 2, it is so close. I think there's about 3 or 4 teams on 23, 22, 21 points. So one game can completely change how the outlook is for maybe not even just today, but for the entire season in total. So you can't afford to have bad games. If you want to be inside whatever you're aiming for, top 11 for playoffs, top 20 for the regional finals, you can't afford to have a game now where you put 0 points on the board, 1 point on the board. You have to be involved in that end game. And I feel like we're going to have some really crazy end games because 20 teams need points at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting way to close out the regular season. World's Edge, the final 3 matches of the day are about to get underway. Our teams are in the dropship. Things are starting. So let's get into match number 4.
All right, who you got your eyes on here, Lauren? We've seen the leaderboards. We've seen who's up top. Who do you think is going to have a banger of a first game here on World's Edge?
You know, we were just talking about them a little bit with their ability to do a pretty decent job when they were dealt a bad hand, and I'd really like to see NRG have a strong performance on first game out the gate for World's Edge.
I'm just looking, by the way. Pods, they're having a little bit of an engagement at the moment, and I think it's AJC who they're going to be taking on, and this is going on over at Countdown. So the Tripods, who have kind of struggled to find a home, you would say, consistently on World's Edge, maybe this is what their call is going to be. We want to take on AJC. We want to fight for Countdown now that we know it's going to be maybe a fight that we favor ourselves in, and they get that first knock. So Tripods are going to pick up a KP. It's going to go down for now, and it looks like Tripods are going to get some loot to play with.
I mean, not too shabby. AJC surviving. Even if with only 2, it's better than going out super early, and that will give a little bit of momentum to Tripods as well. Obviously, the winners of our first match of the day over on Storm Point. So they would definitely like to see some more action like that, as they are one of the squads who is outside of that top 20 bubble and looking for a way in, as we're now able to see where this zone is going to go, heavily favoring CLG, which is a team that could definitely use that.
I just realized I pressed the wrong button on my audio console there. My voice went really high, so I apologize to everybody. I think it's going to pull a little bit more to the south towards launch site. I've got to be honest, I didn't find myself a balloon or anything, the helium that made my voice go really high there. I promise you, it was not a natural thing that happened. But I think we're going to be going towards actually Oxygen just leaving, so maybe I might be wrong. Oxygen usually my good go-to point when it comes to zones. I can do it again for you, Lauren, if you're still laughing. Yeah, Lauren's in trouble. Okay. You want me to carry on? You good? Sorry,
good.
Everyone.
Everything's
hey,
fine.
Look, we like to keep it exciting here on the Apex Legends Global Series. You never know what octave I'm going to be in.
I think everyone enjoyed that. That was a great way to start off our first World's Edge match of the day. But
anyway, let's talk about the zone. Let's talk about where we're going to be going. Launch site. This is what happens when we have a little bit of breaking gameplay. By the way, things start to break down, but we will bring it back to a level playing field here and a level head, I think, for me, and so certainly a level octave as we will continue through to talk about what we're going to see. Optic have a very good priority to this zone as well. LG have left Big Mord, as you can see, so Optic are going to have the opportunity to pick up a lot of loot on this path. Going through Dome as well, they're going to get a bit of beacon information on where that zone is going to be going, and I think this could be another zone for Optic where they could put up some good points on the board.
opportunities galore here as we're watching how many teams have already made their way on in trying to nail down priority position here. And this is going to be important for everyone that is finding themselves even outside the top 10 now. I feel like we've been focusing obviously on regional finals, but there are so many teams that are also within striking distance of top 10, and we need to remember that there is one more additional spot available to NA than there is to EMEA. So that means one more opportunity for these teams to not only make it through to regional finals, but it's about the playoffs at that point. And if there is a team that can do something here and get themselves in a solid spot, I am really focusing on CLG. I think at this point they were right on the cusp of being somewhere safe when it came to even just the top 20 bubble. They need to continue pushing their way in, but we saw how close all of these standings were, and there's a real possibility for CLG to do something big with that.
Yeah, as you know, as high as my voice went, this is a really serious game for these teams. There's only 3 games remaining, and you'd be surprised how quickly they'll disappear in front of you as well, especially here on World's Edge, where everyone is so tried and tested on their rotations, how they want to play, what spots are going to be their priority positions to play, and more importantly, how they interact with other teams on their rotation, what teams they can expect to see challenging them for certain spots. And Dark Zero, they have made their rotate. They're going to be inside of the Vault Tunnel here, just outside of where they believe the zone is going to go, and it's a quick rotation. You can see Zero leaving with the white armor. He's only got 58 damage needed to get that up to a blue, but usually when you're leaving with white armors, it gives you a good indication that a team wants to get a priority spot for that end game. And I think with the way that these lobbies are going to be playing out, a quick rotate, if you have that opportunity, is a much smarter way to play. It's a much lower risk percentage, as we are going to see some stacked end games here with everyone just desperate to get points on the board.
Checking in with Luminosity, a team that was definitely within striking distance of that top 10 bubble that we're talking about. You can see Jaguares up there, as well as one of our kill leaders, tied with Skittle Cakes right now at 7. LG, we already mentioned them before as well, having a very strong performance here so far. 3rd place heading into World's Edge, and this is what they needed. We have seen so many dominant performances out of LG before that we knew they had the ability to do so, that now it's nice that we're kind of seeing them have a little bit of bounce back.
Well, Team Inters haven't really done too much in the lobby so far today, and this is going to be a difficult zone for them to approach. If you're looking at their position at the moment, with the zone closing behind them as well, we've got a long way to go down to the southern side of World's Edge, so it might be a little bit of a long craft for them. It might be a case of just kind of trying to pick up some information to help that macro towards the end game on where teams are going to be located, trying to find a few beacons, a few map room scans on their rotate. There is going to be a beacon available over at Geyser that they can play for. There's also one Overlook where they're heading to at the moment. Also a map room scan available for them. Furia is going to be making their way down towards No Name. And in front of them is going to be LG. And I'm not going to lie, Lauren, I kind of want to see an LG versus Furia fight go down, because I just feel like these two teams are so fun to watch in those 3v3 engagements.
You know, I'm glad that you said it, because I was thinking the same thing. And as I am watching on the map feed, LG's rotation decisions, they're just going straight through to Geyser, so I don't know that we're going to get the fight that we want, but we are getting Glitch Energy going up against E8 right now, and Glitch Energy is a team that's had a really strong performance so far.
They certainly have indeed. EA going to back off here as the Seer Ultimate will go down. So the exhibit's going to be burnt, and you can see that EA haven't been baited into walking into that, and now Glitch Energy are kind of getting a little bit pinched here by a team that are just exiting Harvester. So Glitch Energy do have the high ground and will be able to deny those lines of sight, so they won't take too much damage, but they're rotating away from where that zone is going to be pulling. And when there's 2 minutes 20 left, it's not too much of a bad decision to do that, because you have time to kind of reassess how you want to approach things. They do have reads on Valkyrie as well, so they can hit a skyward dive and overtake this traffic if they need to. But we have seen so many times when there's a couple of teams in the area and you're trying to hit a Valcol, if they know where you've gone to and they know where you're rotating and you don't have that little bit of extra cover to hit the Valcol without taking shots, you can fall to the ground pretty quickly.
Enemy there. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the teams in the vicinity of GE is also SCS, who we just saw have an insane performance on the last Stormpoint map, and also heard Raven saying that Koifel's a very underrated player right now. So we'll have to see if SCS is able to repeat that performance, because they are one of those teams that needed to at least get into that top 20 bubble. E8 now finding themselves up against Tripods, or at least in the general vicinity, but nobody really wants to push this.
Yeah, nobody really wants to push this, but the problem is that someone has to leave into some of the traffic that's going to be ahead of them in zone. So you can see that the white meds are starting to get popped by both teams. Designful is going to be taken down, and there is going to be another team here at staging as well. So E8 are in a
we just need to go back.
Now.
I'm planning to go to the front.
This is your opportunity to get in front of this traffic.
For you here.
Maybe even...
They can't close up their bingo. We're fine.
That's my bad.
Yeah, I was so...
Might be on the same wavelength as you. They heard the shots go down and they instantly started looking back towards that fight. It's AJC, the duo that we saw from earlier, trying to survive in this area, but now finding themselves in a little bit of a pickle here, as they might be going up against 2 different teams.
Yeah, you can see, I think all of these teams had a very similar idea, which is, hey, we're going to tank a bit of zone damage, we're going to craft some medkits, but any problem with that is there's only enough room for one team really to be doing that. And now AJC are getting held out, and this is the problem for all these teams who are trapped in and around stadium right now. You can see in the kill feed, you can hear the bullets. There's already fighting going down, and they're just going to be waiting for their opportunity to strike. Tripods do take that opportunity, but they're going to have to be careful here. They should be able to kind of thread the needle into zone to hit some medkits and reset, but it's going to be a long way for them to go. The question is, do they have the meds to work with?
This was definitely the right call for Tripods, though. Nick takes a lot of damage and does go down at the hands of Zach Mazer. E8 able to see that rotation coming out of Tripods, but they were just in such a rough spot. They debated going for the fight, decided it was better to at least rotate somewhere safe and get themselves out of the red. Stop taking that damage. They lose Nick as a result of it, though, and don't have probably the resources or the time to really go back and get him up. So now they're going to be down to a duo.
Oh, Nick's trying his best. He's crawling. He's on his hands and knees, but he ain't giving up. He's trying to get in towards zone, and if he could make it, it would be one of the great escapes for sure. Tripods, though, looking to maybe be a little bit aggressive here. Getting in towards tree, they'll be able to at least craft some meds, and I think this is the decision on the rotation here. You can see that they weren't going to be able to do it initially on their first stop over at staging, but now they can, at least as a duo, get some meds. And I tell you what, Nick Merckx is still alive here, people. Nick Merckx is still alive.
Not for long.
I was getting... Okay, fair enough. He's gone down. Get that banner. Get him back in.
Yeah, at least close enough that he's recoverable. And then it's just going to come down to where is a safe place for them to get the res and get back up to a trio. Gent's going to be making the trek on over to retrieve the banner. And hopefully they'll be able to do something with it after they get the heal off here.
If this was Dan, by the way, what I'd do is I get really close, pop a med kit, and then just leave him. But this is...
I don't know why. I don't know why.
Fine. Kind of zones on our side too.
Wingman is go next to me.
I'm going for my fucking box. I'm gonna pull the Phoenix. You gotta craft meds.
Yeah,
What?
you're nowhere near your box.
Yeah, I know. Got all the loot on it. I got 2 syringes. You know, you just gotta craft whites if you can for me. I got bats and everything on that.
Got the juice.
Do you not agree?
They smoked in front of me.
Yeah, go for the box. Yeah. You can act big, dudes.
Yeah. You can act big. You're good. I'll be there. I'll be there in 20 seconds. I'll be there in 20 seconds.
I think we should try to look to get inside launch, and if not, then we can play the corner.
There's a team in that choke. That's where that team went.
Alright. Yeah, but they could have rotated in. I think we can look. I'm not saying we gotta commit to it.
I'm pulling my Feeny.
You like go up and...
I'm gonna go drop him, Maddie.
Yeah.
I got 2 ridges. I'm fine. The Valkyrie, look up.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're doing.
They're gonna go over. They're just going deeper.
I'm taking zip line. I can drop.
Let's go.
I'll drop you, Maddie's on the craft.
Yeah, I'm good. I can craft here too. I can craft a bunch.
We need to go soon. We need to start
Yeah,
looking for shit.
just get. I think you get those medis.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's just go. Let's go. I'm ready.
Can you like scan? I feel like you get close and scan like the other side. So if we get stuck in here, it's kind of
play this
Who's
right here.
gonna move first? And the team that's holding both of them out.
I'm coming.
Is 100 Thieves in combination with Oxygen, so a very tough rotate for Dark Zero and Optic Gaming to have to make here. 2 teams who have performed so well so far today. Dropping Gaming, trying to play this one nice and slow, and Furia, who we saw.
They ran out, I think. Oh, careful, middle's trying to maybe come. They ran out. They were just catwalled. I don't know what they're doing. 130 on the horizon. They catwalled underneath the middle.
There's a whole fucking team right here.
We need to move.
Yeah,
Oh, they're in the open. 3 kills. I'm not there. I'm not there.
Guys, low. I'm taking space on the right
Kills
side
here.
right now.
Yeah, I'm moving in. We need to just Valkyrie on you guys probably.
We can play for RV.
There's a team in RV. Maybe we wrap and play the local.
Which is going to force him to take another few seconds to reset, but reset Furia should just about be able to do.
Oh, those rampart walls also coming in super clutch as the tripods are looking down in that direction right now. We see DZ struggling in the kill feed as well. They get eliminated.
At the bat. They're just gonna keep putting walls.
Burn them out. Burn them out, guys.
Yep.
87, crack. I'm gonna bat. I'm recharging my shield. Hit your shots, boys. Hit your shots. These are huge. I got scan in 5 seconds.
They have no wall.
Yep. 30 perp.
63.
Back to bat.
Wall's gone again. Careful.
I got a bat. They might walk up.
High team's looking at you too. They're not.
Dude, come on, man. How are they not dead? Give me the
They're trying to walk up now.
I have knock here for you behind you. I've knocked behind you.
I knocked him.
Nice, bat.
Knocked him right part.
Give me.
Hey, how about no more dying today?
I'm just gonna scan right when I get. I'm scanning right when I get up.
I think we have to play for a late Valko here.
I think we need to kill these guys and then Valkyrie, bro.
We can't go. We gotta kill.
Can we just? I know. Can we look to wipe this and then we'll walk up and Valkyrie?
That's fine.
Cracks here.
The team on height went off.
You need to heal White Snake. Take him, Maddie.
Yeah, heal. You gotta heal.
I got it. I'm healing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give you pop and medi. I'm queuing up and killing them.
Yes, kill them, please. Fuck, man.
Yeah, one's in the back. Yeah, going up. I got cracked at the back. Right at the cell.
Alright, I got cracked too. I got a bat.
The other team's pushing behind him too. Back across. Team rapping. Getting our kill. Oh, trying to get our kill.
Alright.
Just play like gift placemaker at this point, Nick. We're all gonna die. Take it back. Look your health. Get that back, keep building, get that kill. Fuck, you got him up, you gotta get that knock again or something.
They're gonna play slow.
Yeah, get that back. Nice, good shit. Oh, let's go, Nick. Good shit.
Did I get him?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got him.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
you did.
He got his own. Oh, yeah.
You got it. Oh, wait, I think you're gonna say fuck him. Like they're gonna die no matter what. And we have Valk. We gotta play for somewhere better.
I mean, we have Horizon. When they're that dead, we just have to kill them and then we'll Valk later. Like, because listen, the Valk doesn't guarantee us any points. Like, we're just kind of hoping that we're gonna find a better spot. And I'm all about progressing the game, but when we have free picks in front of us, you know, I don't think we need to die for it. So maybe it was bad that we pushed all the way over there for that. But we need to work on our angles. I did so much damage to that team.
There's no angles to go.
If you came to me, then we could have killed them.
I mean, I had angles from my side.
Did you?
Had walls.
I broke the wall every time they put it up. I don't know. I think we need to do a better job killing that, honestly. I don't think anything's wrong with killing that right there. I think we still can Valk ult after. We just took so long to get it done. You know what I mean? We really did. We took a while.
I could have used Rasno earlier, but I didn't want to waste Rasno for that, and then I'll have it when we Valk with him.
Nah. We just those are our kills. It's just like Deed said. We just gotta kill him, and then we'll Valk ult.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. Well, I mean, it wasn't a horrible game. It's 6 points, right?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah.
All right.
Let's check that quadrant.
Keep us still alive.
I don't think I got my kills, you guys.
You did.
Didn't you guys get 2 kills on the team in front? Because I knocked 2 people in Storm. And got a full kill. I definitely didn't get my kills.
I think you definitely did.
We got 1 kill off drop. You didn't get the kill on that team that we were trying to kill off rip there.
I got the Valk kill at the end.
I know. I never got the ramp kill. He res.
Oh, you didn't get. Okay. That's right. Okay, he res. That's why I'm confused. All right.
That side is no.
Yeah, but all things considered, you guys, it's not bad, man. I mean, we're contested. We got our contest. They got 18th. We fucking did a good job resetting after my troll, which also held us up a little bit too. But yeah, we fucking killed that team. We just got to do it a little bit quicker, and then we Valk all over, because we can do both of them. Both those things can happen without dying, I think. I didn't have any nades though.
Oh no, there's still another team on that side that Valk hit over.
Yep.
Scan this area.
Everybody did that.
A reset here for Optic Gaming, and this could be a rough push up for Rise to see the shield advantage that Optic does have.
Yeah, just gotta hope they can zone someone out, but now you're gonna see the cat wall going down. You're also seeing Catalyst Q, the piercing spikes being put on the floor, so Rise have got to play this one very, very carefully. Last thing you want to do is show a little bit too much here and allow Optic to pick one of you. Optic decides, you know what, we're going to come to you. Optic, unfortunately, will have one taken down. Rise playing their advantages extremely well, but now Resi goes down as well. It's a 1v1 here. A1 is going to win it. Optic will be eliminated. Rise survive.
All right. That was a huge fight for Rise to be able to clean that up, and they had to make the decision to at least take the fight because there's only so much time left before these zones start shrinking down, and it was going to be forced upon them. They wanted to take it on their own terms. It gives Rise not only enough time to reset, but to get some more loot in their hands before they push out into the clutches of 100 Thieves, OXG, and Glitch Energy, all just waiting for them to make an appearance.
Yeah, Ride's got to go pretty quickly, though, because that zone is closing, and that is going to burn away at those meds. They need to get out that window ASAP. And they're going to be armor checked by the CAQ as well. So then 100 Thieves are going to know there's a team there. GE, Glitch Energy, having a little poke, having a little prod at 100 Thieves as well. But nobody wants to show. But there's the portal from Red Sea. And that is going to allow them to escape without taking any damage on the cross.
That's massive, and that side of the zone on the high ground is completely wide open. They've got OXG below them, and they'll be able to see that as soon as they are out there. They just have to survive the onslaught from the teams across the way.
Skynade's coming from Oxygen. They were ready for this. Arcstars getting thrown. Rise explode into death boxes and will fall. Even though the portal looked good, Oxygen heard it. The rest of the lobby saw it, and they were able to just flush them out with a combination of grenades. And now Oxygen Esports, who have picked up a good amount of KP in this game, 5 to their name, are looking for more as Hill goes in first.
Ooh, 100 Thieves go down. Oxygen Esports and Glitch Energy, the last 2 remaining teams here. Glitch Energy once again biding their time and waiting for the game to come to them. And Glitch Energy close out match number 4.
Very impressive from Glitch Energy. A very good day for them so far. And like you said, perfect. The patience. They just had to let the lobby in front of them do the work for them. The damage was done in front of them. 100 Thieves engaging with Oxygen meant that there was just damage to be cleaned up essentially for them in that end game. But another great game here in Glitch Energy, looking really good.
You know, the back-to-back wins out of Glitch Energy, a team that really needed to focus on getting into the top 10, hitting into regional finals, has put themselves in such a solid position, Gaskin.
Yeah, I mean, you heard Raven say, you know, it's bad for TSM if we see Glitch Energy performing this well. I do have a question for you guys, though. I stepped away for a little bit, and there was some commotion in Twitch chat about, like, aliens or something that happened. Is there an explanation of what went down? Anyone want to just try and
I got a tenuous link for you what happened, okay?
Yeah.
So, there's... Talk about aliens in Twitch chat. Tom DeLong just came back into Blink 182. He likes aliens, so maybe it is. Maybe aliens exist. Who knows?
It definitely caused a stir in the chat. That's for sure. But I mean, causing a stir, Glitch Energy. I think that now with 2 victories, they are looking like a team that can really threaten the rest of this region when it comes to pushing themselves into one of those playoff positions.
And I'm glad that what we had talked about with Glitch Energy at the very beginning of the show too was the fact that their stats were so much more impressive on World's Edge. They needed to pick it up on Stormpoint. They had done so last time these groups saw each other, but it was still kind of up in the air if that was going to be a consistent thing for them. Now we've seen them get wins on both of these maps. They're looking incredibly strong. So they have clearly figured something out in the last few weeks of ALGS, and hopefully that's something that they can continue to carry on forward, whether that's regional finals, whether they somehow get themselves in a nice solid spot for playoffs. I mean, they could be a team to keep our eyes on.
I mean, the progress of these players has been fascinating to watch. I mean, we've talked about it before, but it just seems a consistent up and up trajectory for this lineup, and you can't really see it stopping. I mentioned how this lobby has got some of the biggest hitters in all of Apex in it. And the fact that Glitch Energy are not only getting to end games, but winning the games is testament to the amount of time and effort they're putting in to, you know, hone and perfect their craft. And I think it's something that you need to appreciate if you're watching right now. You know, these players came from nowhere, a couple of them, and really worked their way through through the Challenger circuit, into Pro League, established themselves a little bit more. And I think it's a really good kind of inspirational story to show what you can do if you're willing to put the time and effort in. Plus, you have to have some talent, and they certainly do that as well.
All right, well, we're going to take a look back at that final circle because there was a lot to talk about. There was some really solid decision-making that we saw. I mean, this was moments after OXG were able to kind of clear out the space around them and start making this push in. And Onset, it once again was just a situation where Glitch Energy could just wait.
Yeah, I think Oxygen Esports played this actually really well. You can see they get 9 KP at this point in the game. Yeah, they don't get the win, but they get the second place placement points off the back of it. But you're quite right, Lauren. I mean, you're looking at Glitch Energy right now. They're watching the carnage unfold literally in front of them. And then it's just a case of just hitting your shots. And if anyone knows how to hit their shots, it's Aiden and Reeds. We've seen them sitting on head glitches in Arena back in the day, and they certainly know how to post up and not miss too many bullets. And you're seeing a good example of it there. But again, you're saying it, 2 wins today from Glitch Energy. Not surprising to see them with 20 points on the board.
Oh, hold on. Though we're wait, 20 points out of Glitch Energy, back-to-back wins. Solid game out of Oxygen Esports, but instantly Gasket all the way down to CLG. I was saying CLG needed to have a strong performance. They had 14 kills.
What on earth was CLG doing before that game to pump them up for 14 kills? They must have been obliterating the lobby, that's for sure. I mean, the damage shared across all 3 of the members, so they were all stepping up when they needed to. And you're completely right. They're in one of those positions. They're fighting for a regional spot, and you need kills. We saw that demonstrated in the EMEA region. You don't necessarily need the good placements. As long as you can have the kill-heavy games, it can still put you up there or thereabouts. But you know, the back-to-back wins for Glitch Energy means that they have a real opportunity to win this match day, and if they do so, really to contest some of these teams who are right at the top of the leaderboard.
I mean, even Rise with 6 kills here as we take a look at the second page Onset. This was kind of a crazy World's Edge match.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think a lot of teams struggled to get into zone. You saw Dark Zero struggling on an early rotate, and then you saw Optic pretty much, who I think a lot of the lobby would have been worried about, like he pointed out, knowing they've got Big Mord and Lava City loot and rotating through to the southern side to fight their way in. So I think a lot of teams kind of, like you're saying, kind of tried to avoid that Optic rotate, but Optic were kind of clearing that side of the map in towards the end game. And I think you're looking at the overall standings here, and no surprise, with a couple of wins on the board, Glitch Energy sat up on 46 points. Oxygen Esports as well, an impressive day for them. But I will say, you saw Hill tweet out about this yesterday. Oxygen Esports had a good day until the last couple of days. This has been synonymous with Oxygen so far this season. The last couple of games is where they fall off. They cannot afford to let that happen today.
I mean, not only do we have some impressive stats at the top of the leaderboard, but CLG, if I'm not mistaken, Gaskin, they were in 13th before match number 4, and now they have propelled themselves all the way into 4th for our series so far. That's a massive jump and speaks how close the standings have been.
Yeah, I think if they can find themselves in the top 5, if not even the top 10 when we look at the end of these results, they're probably going to solidify themselves in regional finals. So they are doing the job at the moment. They are making sure they're giving themselves the best chance and putting it out of the realms of possibility of it being someone else's chance to send them out of the regional finals. So mad respect for them playing in that way with aggression. We've seen that aggression can pay off in certain circumstances.
Well, things are definitely getting interesting here for match day number 9 in NA, but it's time for another short break. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the very capable hands of Gaskin and Onset when we return, so don't go anywhere.
WD Black, the official storage partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ALGS Pro League. North America certainly throwing up some surprises today and keeping us very interested with just 2 games to go now. Glitch Energy with back-to-back wins, down 1 on Store Point, 1 on World's Edge. And who's to say they ain't going to take the whole thing today?
I mean, if they carry on playing like that, if they find themselves in the final circles, being that last team to enter the engagement, there's no reason why they can't make it, you know, back to back to back. And as you say, take the entire match day, which would send them so far up the leaderboard. They would even overtake the likes of FaZe, for example, if they were to win this match day. That's how high they would sail through the leaderboards as well. But there is still 2 matches to play, which means there are a lot of points to still play for, especially when you look at the teams that are in this lobby and the amount of points teams can gain in lobbies like this as well. Some of the mammoth point games we've seen previously from teams like this. So it's definitely not done and dusted for Glitch Energy, but they're putting themselves in a really good spot.
In a good spot. One team who I will say, who I feel is probably a little bit anxious at this point, is my team to watch for today, and that's NRG. Coming into today, they were sat, I think it was in 12th position overall, and you know, didn't have a huge amount to do to qualify for the playoffs, but still had some work to do. I think they probably needed, I think it was around 7-8 points per game day, something like that, for the number we were thinking might be a qualifying number, so to speak. But now you're seeing the teams around them start to pick up points, and all of a sudden NRG aren't picking up as many points. There's been 1 or 2 here or there, hasn't been a huge amount of big KP games, and you can see right now they are outside. This is before things got underway, I believe. They were in 13th position. Now at the moment, I'm pretty sure they're in about a similar kind of position in this lobby, just outside of that top 10. And they don't want to put the pressure on their shoulders going into the regional finals, knowing that they will have to perform on the final day to qualify for the Split 2 playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to need some big games here in the last 2 remaining, but we know what energy are like and what energy can do, and they can pull that out of the bag, out of nowhere. So we'll have to keep a keen eye on them, what they do in these last 2 games, but you say it's scary moments for them, it's scary moments for some of the other squads as well. I mean, Drug-Free are in danger zone of being taken over by several teams and potentially being sent out of regional finals. That can be said about a few other squads who are watching on who aren't playing today as well. Native watching in the wings. Technically, they could still be pushed out of the regional final spots. LTC are definitely going to get pushed out of the regional final spots as well. So then it's going to be between the likes of CLG, Oxygen, E8, and Drug-Free to see who can take the last kind of 2 spots that are available there. So these last 2 games are going to be massive.
And let's put it into perspective as well. You know, when we get to the regional finals, it's going to become even more difficult to find points because it's going to be the best 20 teams overall that are going to be fighting in that lobby. There's going to be none of the weaker teams that we might see have been struggling to pick up points throughout the season. So you don't want to leave it to the last real opportunity where you're saying, okay, we need 12 points, because 12 points on a regular match day is a different proposition to 12 points in a hot lobby that we're going to have in the regional finals.
Yeah, and we can talk about match point, meaning that teams who are outside of the top 10 still have that chance to get to LAN, but with how the games have gone, how the match days have gone, we've seen consistent winners. We've seen the Giants be the Giants, and it wouldn't surprise me if when match point comes into the equation, we see them do exactly the same thing. So it really does mean you have to put yourself in the best position going into that regional final so you can give yourself a chance just via points. You don't want to have to rely on winning that match day. There will be teams who have to rely on it. It's going to be mathematically impossible for some squads to get into the top 10, but certainly those who are close enough, like NRG that you speak of, you need as much as possible today so that it's not too much of a worry going into that regional final.
Yeah, 2 games for them to find a little bit of form here, NRG. It's been kind of a reverse story, I would say, of their usual performance in the Pro League, where they usually start off really slowly and everyone's like, oh no, where's NRG? What's going on? And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, all right, we'll step up, we'll qualify, don't worry about it. And then they get to LAN and they're unbelievable. So it's been a little bit of a different story, this split. They've started off hot, they look great, put themselves in a good position, and they are still in a good position, but it's about executing. You don't want to leave it all to the last second. Getting the job done here, putting some big points on the board in these last 2 games is certainly going to take the pressure off heading into the regional finals.
And maybe learn something from what CLG just put up as well, with their aggression, with the amount of kills they've been able to find. If you want to really put yourself in a position where you can be challenging for those top 10 spots, then maybe you do have to think out of the box a little bit. Maybe that if you're being maybe too structured, maybe get more aggressive. Honestly, maybe take those fights, be confident. Again, I'll go back to the interview from Phoenix yesterday on the EMEA region where he was saying TSM won LAN for a reason, and that was because they believed in themselves and they believed in every fight that they were going down and how confidence is everything. And I think that should echo through the Apex community, that sometimes you have to believe in every single fight and every single engagement that you are the better team. As soon as you start running away and leaving fights that you have the potential to win, you're giving that opportunity of points to someone else. So it's about making sure that you know how to get the job done. And we go into match number 5.
Map number 5 is ready to go. You can see the teams already dropping into World's Edge. 1 game to go after this of the regular season. Sad times, but exciting times at the same time. I said time too many times there, but you get my point. And we'll have to see if it is going to be NRG who can find a little bit of form in these final 2 games to take the pressure off their shoulders, or if it's going to be a continuation of Optic putting on points to that total score that they've managed to put up already and kind of starting to run away with things a little bit. Really impressive Oxygen, by the way, today.
Yeah, I think Oxygen have been excellent, especially as their, Gibraltar was so prevalent in Storm Point. They were able to try something a little bit different. We've seen Gibraltar, we've seen Wraith come into the equation. We saw Newcastle earlier in EMEA as well. People are finding that certain legends will really help you in some of these late game positions as well, but it's just about getting into those positions, and that's something that Oxygen have done very well today, and I'm sure they'll be trying to.
We're good, I'm walking up.
I got the kill. Grab a blue, Nick.
I am. I'm walking up.
I'm going up to Jen.
Yep.
We took first blood.
Idiots, bro. Walk up quick, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna
They're in here, they're in here, they're in here. He's above me. Above me.
Looking. 40 on bang. Climb up, climb up.
Cracked him.
I'm going up. Go up, just go up, just go up.
Okay, heard. I'm aping.
Push this guy.
I'm just aping.
Okay, just push. You got armor swap. Kill this fucking bang.
I'm fucking
chase
aping,
him.
bro.
Fuck. Just chase him, yeah, just chase him.
Be careful, Fisher.
It's fine, fuck him.
I'm here. I'm back.
Thanks, nice.
Hold on.
Yeah. We push up these, yeah.
You go, D, I'm playing off you.
They're behind them, we have to push through, they're behind. Go.
See through the
I'm run left if we can.
Yeah.
I'm one, bro.
You have to kill him, dudes. You got them right.
150.
Kill that. I'm gonna go landslide.
Get out.
Go landslide.
Yeah.
And with that, their squad is gone.
Fucking idiots.
Hell yeah.
Shields are recharging.
Alright, Harvey. No. We kind of have zone now. We just need to craft up. You gotta be careful of the Sono team and Harvey team.
I need a mech. You got a mech it?
Yeah. No, I have nothing.
Okay, hit ranges.
Yeah, just go to hide dudes.
Shit, boys. Easy.
I hear Harvey.
Little bit since match number 1 when they got that victory, they're still within touching distance. And as I said, if they were to win this match day, it's still possible. But here comes NRG to maybe try and clean up the pieces of very weak tripods running away with their tail between their legs.
Yeah, trying to run here. You can see the Gents only got around 40 HP overall. Armor already been cracked. But NRG, if they're going to push this and they want to push this, they need to be quick on it because they can't allow them to reset. If they get a battery off here, then the purple shield is going to come back up. But the problem is Tripod's chasing down those kills and getting those KP on the board. They're not going to have a huge amount of loot to play with. And you can see that Deeds has been taken down. Charge rifle, longbow combination. Sweet only needs 40 damage. And if you're going to level up some Evo shields, if you're running double sniper, it's going to be a pretty good time.
I don't know if NRG are close enough to take advantage of it. But as I say that, it's the high ground that Sweet takes to try and get the kill. But finally manages to get around the shipping containers, and they might be able to get their res here and stay alive with tripods.
Other teams starting to move in though, so NRG have got to give up on this one and turn their attention elsewhere. It's actually going to be Dark Zero who are moving into Landslide as well. Dark Veil goes down, they're going to want to play that tunnel. Oxygen also making a big rotation as well from the other side of things in towards Landslide as well. So our quick rotating teams already made a quick rotation. Who would have thought it?
Yeah, so many people moving quickly as unfortunately Deeds does eventually go down, so it's not going to be Tripods being able to put themselves back on the map and give themselves a real chance as a 3 just yet, but maybe a banner can be grabbed. As you mentioned, Landslide is where a lot of teams are focusing on at the moment, Dark Zero and NRG, and other teams are starting to join it here, so people are starting to think this is where the circle's going to be going, and maybe if you can hold one of these RVs here for a long time, might be able to get into the latter stages of the game. But with a composition like this, it's not the easiest place to hold for NRG.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. The Catalyst can certainly reinforce the doors, but apart from that, you're not going to have really any protection from grenades. If a team tries to nade you out of these trucks, it's such a difficult spot to deal with. But Landslide in general is a POI. If we do see the zone pulling here, where it looks like teams are expecting it to, there's really not too many playable spots. Sweet's going to have a lot of responsibility up on that high ground to work with his teammates and kind of give them cover fire to stop teams pushing them, but he's had to retreat. You have to wonder if maybe it's a med situation where he needs to go and pick up some things, or if he just wants to play a little bit closer to his teammates.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams as well that are moving in now are going to start to match each other in some of these choke points and have to take a fight in the early stages, or if they have the Valkyrie, they can maybe go over the top of them. But there are potential fights that could happen on the western side as the likes of Glitch Energy are moving their way in from Lava Fissure, for example. Exet are going to be moving in from Skyhook and could run into the tripods that are now not tripods. There's only 2 of them, and that could mean there are fights that could happen in this next zone.
What's a 2-legged tripod?
It's just a human being at that point, isn't it? Just 2 legs.
A duo pod.
Just a pod.
That's a singular. Anyway, CLG picked up a huge amount of kills in that last game. And picking up some more here. The Dark Veil goes down to try and allow the team to reset and escape, but Nano is chasing this one down. And I think if you're running momentum like CLG are after that last game, with the way they approach things, the aggressiveness that they played with, and a huge amount of KP that came off the back of it, it's no surprise to see them trying to continue with this run of form that they found themselves on.
Yeah, be aggressive and just play your advantages and continue what you were doing in the previous game. Run at people. You've got the composition to do it. A similar composition to what we saw was successful earlier in EMEA, and CLG trying to make sure they solidify their spot in those regional final places.
My goodness, Nano isn't missing too many shots with that Nemesis at the moment, and it's such a horrible weapon to get shot by because you're like, okay, I'm getting shot. Okay, I'm getting shot even more. And an increasing rate, it just shreds away. Once your shields get broken, the fact that the rate of fire just is going up and up until it's maxed out, your health can just be ripped away from you before you know it.
CLG probably have to stop this chase though, and I think they will. There's no point going too far into the danger zone. Otherwise, you end up being greeted by a potential another team on the other side of things. Instead, they can just hold Harvester for now and reassess exactly how and where they want to progress. And it's always good having a crafter available to them. They can get all of the utility they may want. And of course, pop that smoke just to give you a little bit of a hidey hole. Here's Trident. They are back. Trident, Tripod are back as a full 3. So they're not going to be that duo pod, the bipod, whatever pod it's going to be as a 2.
That's much better.
I will say, I did not come up with bipod. It was someone in the back stage that, you know, had a little whisper in my ear. So credit for that.
Such an honest guy. I would have claimed that as my own. But anyway, tripods back up to a 3. But again, loot is a problem for them. And it doesn't surprise me too much to see them maybe rotating against the run of traffic here to try and find a little bit of loot, because it's all good to have 3 players back in the game, but if you don't really have the loot to play with for the longer game, then your chances of survival are going to be pretty low. And it looks like a little bit of a change of plans by the looks of things. 19 squads still remaining here. We did see, of course, the first squad eliminate a little bit ago, but 2 assists here for Deeds, and tripods make a little bit of a run of it here.
I think the trouble is, if you're coming from the eastern side here, you have to go through a choke that is already taken by a team. The train tracks is pretty much taken. LG have a good watch on the northeastern choke as well. And if you want to go through Skyhook, that's not going to happen because there's already 2 teams that are holding that position. So that means you maybe have to think about going south. And even if you do, there's already a team in Harvester. So if you're on that eastern side, this isn't going to be a comfortable rotation whatsoever. I'm really worried for some of these teams that are moving in late here, because there are going to be teams holding them out.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried for tripods there. I thought they were about to be pinched between Exet and Furia, and that is not where you want to be at any point. And you can see it's a bit of a poverty game as far as loot is concerned for them as well. Sentinel, no attachments. Wingman, no attachments. It's really not looking too healthy for them, so they have to work out a way to get a little bit more loot here, tripods, and give themselves a fighting chance if they want to get in towards that end game. But one team who doesn't seem to have too many problems with loot is going to be 100 Thieves. Onmu is only 131 off of leveling up their armor to purple. They've got all the fragment to themselves at the moment, although there is a team in fragment east at the moment that they managed to spot out. So lucky that they didn't maybe craft the armors a little bit earlier, because it can always be a little bit of a scary moment. You pop that armor in, and all of a sudden you find yourself bare-chested with a couple of bullets flying towards you.
It hasn't really been the same kind of games from 100 Thieves that we've seen previously in B versus C, as the cracks now come in, the charge rifle being put to good use to level up that Eva shield a little bit more. But 100 Thieves are another one of those teams that have that possibility of being able to have a mammoth game to send themselves up the leaderboard. So we'll have to see whether maybe they can put a better game together here. They are still in 8th position at the moment, so it's not exactly the worst position to be. If they...
Let's res them here at truck then.
I thought you were way close to me. That's my bad.
I was, but I looked left to shoot that guy running out.
Oh.
And I killed him instantly. But
yeah, he shot me in the back, I guess. He's the only guy that shot me.
I would have killed him way faster if I didn't have the jetpack shit. Just my bad, to be honest. I could have saved you. But yeah, he slid
remaining flash damage is going to be enough for Flindar to get that first knock. Darkveil goes down. Team Inters have the advantage.
Yeah, they have the advantage for now. Can they actually take advantage of it, though, because the smokes are down, which makes things a little bit more awkward, and there are other teams that are in the area that certainly will want to join in on all this commotion that's happening down below them, and Inters just need to be aware of that. Just need to make sure they've got a building they can go back to and retreat to call home if things get a little bit dicey, and it looks like they already will be backing off from this one because they've got what they went for. They got the KP.
Yeah, CLG, though. CLG are in trouble. It looks like Mamba might have gone down, and he has indeed. So CLG, who are desperate to find some KP to continue that adrenaline-filled run that they went on in that last game, now have to play this one out as a 2, as 100 Thieves were in the area, but Mamba hasn't been finished.
Got your back.
And Mamba comes down from the heavens for once, and he's going to be rezzed here by Nano.
Well, this is what I was saying, though, about the eastern side. There are 5 teams that are now moving in with this circle, and not only are going to have to worry about each other, but also worry about those teams that are already holding the choke. 100 Thieves and Fury are probably going to clash, and then after that happens, the likes of CLG are going to be running into things as well. So all these teams are just going to have to fight their way out, hope they can pick up some KP. Surviving is unlikely at this point unless you have some sort of miracle work.
100 Thieves looking to pick up the pieces of these teams leaving. It's a really good spot to hold towards this endgame. We're going to see where that zone pulls as well. I'm sure that all the players are waiting with bated breath. And yes, you do see that zone pull coming in. It is pulling over towards the tracks. And who is right bang in the middle of that? It's going to be Rise, who have been involved in some endgames so far today. The last game we saw them trying to portal in, trying to be a part of that final fight. They got taken down by a lot of skynades and grenades being thrown at them from numerous teams. But this time, They're in a really good spot and have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, and considering where Rise were before the day, you know, they were in the bottom 2, so it was a kind of do or die day for them. It looked very unlikely. Even if they were to win today, I don't think they would have what it takes to get into the top 20, but sometimes it's good to go out with a bang, try and avoid relegation as well. So we'll have to see whether Rise can have a game from the position that they find themselves in. But 100 Thieves were able to hold out the squads that were pushing up on them, but now they realize that this is not the place to be, and they're going to make sure they try and relocate to find something a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, really good Valcol. Unfortunately, though, Vaxlon gets eliminated and deleted from the skies. Luckily, it wasn't the Valkyrie, which means that the last 2 players can kind of continue on their way forward, but now they're just getting shredded, and that was a Sentinel shot coming in from Niels or from Luminosity Gaming. 100 Thieves will be able to reset. They found the truck to play as well.
He stayed in the Skyward Dive as well, so he was able to guide Vaxlon along at least long enough where the body is nearby and they can grab the banner here. But 100 Thieves, their position is now going to be known. There's going to be eyes on them. Oxygen were able to see where they were going. Glitch Energy also saw where they were going. As meanwhile, in the middle of nowhere, Noxious are just desperately trying to stay alive.
2 syringes. Is there a medkit? This might be one of the most difficult POVs to watch, unless there's going to be a magical medkit waiting somewhere for someone to pick up. Is it going to happen though, Dan? What do you reckon?
I'm waiting.
Where's your money?
With bated breath.
Is he going to make it to zone? I think he might just about make it to zone here.
I think he just makes it here, and this is going to be either the best moment or the worst moment of ever. Yeah, it was close. It wasn't close at the end.
You've got 10 seconds to make it to next.
It was easy. Yeah, I think Noxious at this point, they were so deep in the zone that they knew that it's just a matter of trying to delay the inevitable as long as possible to maybe pick up an extra placement point, but even that looks unlikely now. Exit. Looks like they've got another team in the area right now and have to be careful. Exhibit's going to be down, so at least they've got the info and they can keep the team at bay. But as soon as that Exhibit disappears, that's when a team maybe will push.
And it's Furia. They've got Zero Tricky back into this game. So now, XF versus Furia part 2. Furia strikes back. It's about to start off it. XF have to move. They aren't going to be safe where they are right now, which is why they're trying to force the fight. And why Furia trying...
I'm gonna ult that.
Watch, they might push me from the other side.
I'm ulting that.
Watch the other side.
I got shit on.
I'm on scan. I ulted to buy us time though. No one's swinging this corner yet.
We're fine.
There's no one coming. No one.
I'm reloading.
We're good.
I can't see shit. That's all you, Watson.
We're fine.
They're dying around the corner.
Maybe we go up now and third party them.
I can Valk.
I think they just died. That was XF. They just insta died.
We can Valk and maybe look for.
They're still fighting though. I think. Go.
Are Valk ulting or running?
Valk. Oh, okay. We're just running.
I ran it. Take space on these guys.
Just Giga Swing.
Yep.
Cracked her basically. Shoes.
Yep. I'm just grabbing space. They're getting chased by the truck.
Almost cracked Valk.
We don't have to do anything crazy. They're getting chased.
You're dead in space.
It's a last guy.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm knock. I'm blocking it. I'm blocking nades. Play you.
Just rat.
Flanking you. Nice. She stopped chasing.
You need to work to your left, Ethan, to get that bat off.
Yeah.
She stopped chasing
you. You need to go. Oh, that's not where I meant. Fuck it. Get in that cart. It's not even in there. Oh, we're dumb. We should have taken this.
Team.
Watch your right.
Team behind you.
Watch your right. Yeah, you.
Hey, you hear him over there.
Act big, bro. You gotta shoot them.
You just get from your left too. You can always go back down. You can slide down your low left lip. Like it's outside of zone, but you know.
I think I have to go down.
You're good. Just chill here. Chill here for now. Chill here for now. Yeah. Nice.
Would 3 wins in a row put them within the conversation of teams to get to playoffs, but also starts to make everyone else's head turn a little bit and saying, okay, well, maybe Glitch Energy are a real genuine threat that we have to be worried about, and maybe that research that's being put into some of the other big teams has to now be focused on Glitch Energy as well, because I know that there will be some coaches who research every single team, and I'm sure that they put all the work in, but I also know there will be some coaches who say, we're not really worried about this team. They're not on our rotation. They're not near our POI, but maybe you do need to start worrying about a team like Glitch Energy who have put together some incredible performances today.
I mentioned how the IGLs are going to have to earn their money today in these endgame situations. The macro needs to be on point. The calls need to be followed. As I believe we might have just seen Optic Gaming being eliminated. Excuse me, Optic's still alive for now. Glitch Energy, though, So the opportunity here to go back to back to back. We're going to jump into a listening now with this squad and see if they can make it happen.
Crouch. Careful, they can get above us, like right here. Crouch. I'm crouching, I'm crouching.
They're on my red. They're right above us.
Yep.
You guys have nades?
I have one arc.
I have an arc and a frag.
I'm backing up.
No, just chill. Save our nades.
They're dying. They're dying.
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't think we can clear it though.
I'm gonna nade it though.
It's fine. They're gonna die passively. We need to focus east. We need to keep focusing east. Like I said earlier. Just keep focusing east.
We got on the truck. It's full safe on me, by the way. Full safe right here.
Okay. I'm in.
Yeah, I think we just chill. I don't.
Turn around, look down if you need to block your head.
Okay.
I don't think we need to. They're not shooting at me. They're dying still above us. Might slide down.
Any ult cells?
No.
No.
I think I get wall though. Is one still knocked?
Yeah.
I have an arc if they go to res, okay?
Yeah.
Just chill.
Listen, we're gonna be jumping into low ground ahead of us, okay?
And walling off the right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to wall right.
And then we play all that little cover.
Dodge nade, come up to me.
That team is shooting the spike, so they're gonna.
Full safe on me, full safe on me as well.
Yep, they're ready for it.
Get the move in.
We need to wall off the right team and then kill this team above us super quick, and then go play the cover and stuff, I think.
We might want to just beeline it underneath to the hills.
Good shot.
Right, bro. He went open. 45 gold.
30 golden. Wall in 10%.
Listen, we might want to just go hard left. There's like a lot of there's like a little blue band.
Fuck. That was a hard one.
But we might have to kill this team above us
This is a solo. We can kill this guy, okay? It's 6.
I have wall now. Just call me when you want to play this to the wall.
You need a wall now.
Yeah, come down to me and wall. Okay, that's fine. Look at the solo. He's frying me, guys.
Play my knock. I'll block the arc.
Kill the solo.
Look for it mid. I'm gonna res.
I have no heals. I need heals.
I'm up. Let's fuck.
We might need to
drop in a Phoenix for you.
I'm popping in.
He's up here, I think.
I think he climbed all the way up.
Can we go play the blue stuff, or my wall's gonna go down soon?
I'm popping this Phoenix.
Yes.
Kill its Wraith!
Yeah, look
right then!
Look across! Play inside the bin if you need.
I'm here.
Throwing them across. I just got hella nades. Throwing them. Look up.
Yeah, careful.
Yep, we're chilling.
Really safe on me as well.
You can nade them here. I just hit them with it.
Play on me if you need help.
Play behind me.
Wait, they're peeking the back now. I cracked them.
It's fine. I'm just holding this.
I got canceled. I'm out of bats. Four cells.
I have 1 cell.
Just play. If you play in here, hug right side. I beamed him.
Not dying. Look at that guy. 3, 2, wait.
It's a solo here. We might want to kill this guy for third.
Yeah. I'm down.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Dropping on his head.
100.
Dead.
I swapped. I'm going back.
Yeah, run back.
Getting in the box. Can you Cyril, please?
2%.
Oh, shoot. We're dead, boys. We're dead.
They're on us.
Oh, my knock. Play my knock.
It's fine.
No, 100.
Good try.
Nice.
Well, great listening and great plays again from Glitch Energy. It's not a win down, but they're into the top 3 as now we see Optic versus Furia for the win.
Yeah, it looks like Furia have managed to take the advantage, but there is going to be a knock to Pandas, but it doesn't matter because Furia will get the final kills and will reinstate how good a team they are when it comes to these final circles. And it's been about Furia, it's been about Glitch, it's been about Optic. All the big boys have performed game after game as Furia put more points on the board.
Such an interesting game to kind of dissect from Furia as well. I mean, we saw them a couple of times where they were just playing as a 2. They had to get a res, they had to get back up to a full 3. And we always talk about the moments which you can kind of pinpoint in games where a team wins something. I think that rotation where they just about managed to survive the fight against XSET and then managed to rotate behind them and catch tripods off guard, I think that gave them the spot to play from, and then from there they were able to ride the momentum.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be looking at all 3 of those teams quite likely guaranteeing their spot in playoffs with how they've been playing so far today as well. I mean, Glitch Energy, if they hold on to this first place, they would go up into the top 5. They'd be on about 84 points, and you said the magic number is around there, if not even less than. So I think that Glitch Energy are doing very well with their consistency. First, and third. I don't think that they would have been expecting that coming into today's action, but now they're there. They need to just keep pushing on, go for a dominant performance here in match number 6 again, and they could be solidifying themselves at playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and congratulations to Fury as well. Like you say, they were not there at the last LAN. After the amazing performance they saw at the ALGS Championships, they didn't qualify for the Split 1 playoff. So Fury are looking like they will be joining us back on LAN. Obviously, still some work to do for them, of course, but approaching that number that we reckon is going to be just there or thereabouts as far as qualification is concerned. And I'm sure for all the teams that were there at Split 1 playoffs, they're not too happy about that, but Furia fans certainly will be.
Yeah, what we saw from Furia back at, LAN was unbelievable how they defined the meta, really. But we can look at the final circle, we can see how things played out. And honestly, it was one of those where Glitch had done so much, and I think they realized that everything was just going to end as soon as they saw all the grenade flashing up on their HUD. And they were going to just be getting obliterated by the teams that came on atop of them. But Furia were just up in the heavens. They were waiting for their moment, dissecting what was happening below them, and they just picked their time perfectly.
Yeah, you can see it here as the fight against 100 Thieves that they really took advantage of, dropping down here. 100 Thieves eliminated in the meantime, and again, just smart play from the Valkyrie. Panda's probably a player that isn't talked about. I mean, you could always say no, a certain player isn't talked about enough, but walking in here, hitting the big sprays like this is what Pandas brings, is that consistent output damage, and just a simple cleanup job really on Glitch Energy. But the armor swap wasn't a perfect one for them. They had to bide a little bit of time, but the Dark Veil going down from, I think, their opposing team, Optic, kind of gave them the advantage to reset.
Yeah, also, I mean, that's one of the benefits of having the Horizon against the Dark Veil, is you can just go over the top of it rather than through it. If you don't have that Catalyst to work with, and maybe you don't have the Seer ultimate, the Exhibit to give you the info, sometimes just going over works just as well. There's the damage stats anyway for Furia. Everyone over 1.6k damage. There was no sort of carry that happened. Everyone playing their part, and they really are a joy to watch when they're playing at this level. They have very much impressed me the further we've got through Pro League. I was definitely asking questions about them right at the start when they were struggling, but they have found their own. They have found out how to play through this meta, and I'm so excited to see them back at LAN again, because as I said, they've pretty much guaranteed it at this point. We can't confirm it, but we can say it's very likely.
Well, Furia dropping a bomb in that game. With one more game to go, it's the perfect tonic for Furia fans. 12 points for placements for that first place, but 13 kills alongside it. And that's certainly a VOD I'm going to go and watch back a little bit later. Maybe tomorrow. It's getting a little bit late, but maybe tomorrow I'm going to watch that one back, because, as I say, it wasn't a comfortable game for them at all, but they made it work, and having got into that position to win the game, they capitalized. Glitz Energy, though, again, a great performance from them. 11 points overall, a third-place finish. And once, the story today has been of teams coming out of the woodwork that have put in these consistent performances both in EMEA and now in North America. Glitch Energy, not quite the same kind of situation as Bitfix, but certainly with something to play for and stepping up when it matters.
Yeah, Glitch Energy were never outside of the top 20, but certainly they have put themselves on the map like Bitfix did. They've shown that they are going to be a team that's really going to threaten the very top of this region, and they should be able to solidify themselves with a playoff spot, or at least get very close as we move into the regionals, and give themselves a pretty easy chance to get there with one match day essentially remaining in the bottom half of those results. You can see there are a few teams who really struggled. Again, CLG, though, were able to pick up a good amount of kills to keep them going on that points total that they've just been eating away at, and making sure they stay at the top of the leaderboard, or at least close to.
LG not looking too good in that game, though. You will say 2 points is something they don't expect to pick up too often, and they are one of those teams who are probably feeling a little bit nervous going into this final game of World's Edge. You would expect them to be qualified, of course, for the regional finals, but when we're talking about qualification spots coming into today, they were in just outside of those qualification spots, 12th position, so they've got some work to do. Joined with NRG actually coming in today, and the same can be said about NRG, Dan. I tell you what, if you look at the overall standings here and you see LG and NRG right next to each other, knowing where they are in the overall standings, Game 6 could be massive here.
Yeah, I mean, they still put, what, like 10 points on the board, so it's still enough to put them up close to that number that you were speaking of, close to that 82 or around there or thereabouts. I think the big thing for the likes of Luminosity and NRG is the teams are performing well around them, and there's not too many teams that are below them that are necessarily performing at an incredible rate. Aside from Glitch Energy, of course, Glitch Energy seem to be the outlier when it comes to that statement, but I think that LG and NRG will at least be happy that we've not seen one of the teams who are really low suddenly step up and show what they're made of. And because Luminosity and NRG are still within touching distance of, a top 5 position, I think that they'll be fairly happy with how they've played today, but it's just not been a standout performance, has it really? And I think everyone wants to have that standout day, but sometimes when you look at the fact you've essentially got 2 match days with regional finals, you just need to make sure you are there or thereabouts. It doesn't have to be a big hitter, just not yet.
We're going to have to find out what's going to happen in our final game. It's time for us to jump to a quick break, though. It gives you an opportunity to go and hydrate for a few moments. We've got our final game of the regular season about to kick off when we get back.
I think I'm gonna just.
I'm looking around.
It looks like two.
I'm going right. Yeah, I'm going right.
Wait, they're swerving. I don't know what they're doing.
I can't see them. They think about
one's by D's or no?
Yeah, like under.
No. Are they?
Yep. Yeah, he's picking up the bridge towards me. I'm running.
He's not pushing me. I'm looking over. I don't know what he's doing.
What back here? They fucked up their
They
thing.
shot through my glass.
They're gonna go bridge though, I think.
They might. Yeah, they might try and push one side. Maybe my side.
Okay. They don't have armors. I'm gonna back up then.
Alright.
100 yards. Yeah, I see him looting this left side.
We need to get together. We can't be split here.
I know. I'm just kind of holding.
I
think they're gonna fuck off.
And they might just leave.
We have zone. We should just fuck it. Look, fuck him. You trying to rotate like a zone?
Yeah, can we hit the button and get armors? I have his head like a watch over you guys.
That
hit
might
the
be
button.
risky.
It's a purple armor, bro. We have to do something here.
I'm gonna. I think it's worth it.
Oh, I'm gonna watch over you.
I've charged you, yeah. I don't see him.
They did. I'm coming too.
Yeah.
We gotta go. We just gotta go top trials potentially or something. I'm going.
We could probably hit balloon and just get top trials.
Do we have decent heals or no?
No, 1-6.
I have 8-1, but we're purple, blue. This is like one of those things we just sit still all game. Where do we want to play?
Not be a zone that is further away for them, but we have seen Optic make some wild long rotates down into zone where they fight their way in and put up huge KP along.
Might be able to send.
We can scan beacon.
Except it's a big zone for them.
No,
I should say balloon.
It's a really big zone, but it's whether they'll get the loot, of course, being in trials.
The trials are back houses. We can take.
You should call it. I really don't know.
Top trials are clean.
Let's just go top trials. Yep, we're just gonna take it.
I don't think you have to play in the back.
I have 2 cells, so.
Yeah.
She just bought down. On go.
Oh fuck.
You can still get it. Oh, it's here. Purple bag, digi.
Huge.
What is bottom trials done?
I don't know. Probably not. They probably saw zone and went.
You guys may be able to drop as a duo, or me and him could drop as a duo.
Yeah, I'm scanning. Yeah, drop that. Drop
only one of you.
Drop down and go loot it at least. I'm dropping down and loot this shit.
Okay.
I know we need cells and shit though. Purple helmet. The fuck?
I'll swap you.
Yo, ping me. Oh, there's an nemesis right here. Perfect, bro.
Ping me. Is there a sniper sight? And make sure you can.
I have a sniper sight. I have a Hicks for you.
Okay. No ball close or anything yet.
You take.
Maybe?
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm just looking for any fucking loot. Arc stars. Syringe. Snipe ammo. Okay, coming up. There's a blue helmet down here. G, do you need that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop an armor swap for us too.
Wow, first blood.
I don't spend too much time down there.
Is it? It has to be on here. This is like all
I think it
right?
is. Yeah, they're blocking right now too.
I'm back up.
I'm 10-1. Remember, G, we don't need to shoot at anything that's gonna cost us all our heals.
They went the bottom charge. Get up.
Okay, I'm already up. Here, G, take this. Come here.
Here, Nick, take this too.
Helmet here.
All right, I need a little bit of shield. I have 2 cells. It's not gonna work.
Nobody peek. I'm serious. I swear. Like, we're
I know, Dick. I know. Don't worry.
All right, look over here. There's 2 pills that are on the right here. I want to get.
Yeah, we do. I'm gonna watch over you. Wait, go. No, zip. Okay, we can't all leave this. There's a team bottom Giles.
Me zipping.
All right, but there's 3 underneath me on my
down here.
Is there any cells? Any sights?
No.
Okay. Doc, all this guy's flashed.
Enemy in view. Over there.
Yeah, they went to the back.
I have snipe ammo for you if you need.
Light. Yeah, I have 24 for a yard.
Oh, here you go.
There's an R9 down there if you want. I got a bunch of light there.
Yeah, fuck it, actually. Let me go grab it.
You'll take up here. Ulti. I have 6 nades. Is your ulti back here?
You don't. Shoot the kill. They're gonna go big here.
I got 28 shots for you, G. Here you go. 28 more ammo. Alright, I need light ammo. I need the light. Where's the light?
There's 80, like right here.
Yeah, it's in the grass somewhere. I can't find it. There you go. Wait, hug all. Straight west. And they're all going to the back.
They might play for that bottom left.
They're on these pills. He's on the pill. 13 blue. The catwall across. I think I have to drop the Shnemi and play with T-Take, bro. I don't have enough ammo.
Yeah, you might be right.
I'm telling you, we only shoot to kill.
Yeah.
That's all we have ammo for.
I'm T-Take.
I let him shoot if I wanted to.
Should grab that light ammo down there. We can win this game, boys. We can win this game. Come on, bro.
What a powerful squad they are. I mean, I know they've already shown us that today with how they've played, but it's going to be very telling who goes into regional finals as kind of number 1 or even number 2.
Going to be an interesting game to watch back from Optic's POV as well, because they are going to have to force their way into zone. They are going to have to make some risky plays because the whole lobby pretty much is in front of them at the moment. A couple of teams taking their time down to the southern side of things, in and around Tree, Lava Siphon, Thermal Station. One of those being E8, who haven't had the points tally that you would have needed, or would have hoped for, I should say, so far today. But Optic have a pretty clear path at the moment through Fragment. Pick up some loot on the way as well. Only team who's kind of really anywhere near close to them at the moment is just left Fragment on the other side, and that's going to be Oxygen, who are now already in the choke overlooking Countdown. So Optic have got some time. They can kind of think about what their next move is going to be. They might be able to hit a little bit crafting on their way as well, as Oxygen are going to go and hit that ring console to find out exactly what's going down in the map.
CLG and Oxygen, 2 of those teams who are fighting for 20th position. They're both kind of in the zone at the moment and just staying alive, but CLG are putting more kills on the board, and I really think that both CLG and Oxygen are going to be fine. It's going to be those teams that were around them, the likes of Drug Free, that are probably going to suffer with how well that these 2 have performed. I think they'll be fairly comfortable here in match number 6 with what they've done so far, but at the same time, you just need to make sure, if you're not a math team, if you're not putting together the numbers before a game, you just need to make sure that you're putting as many points on the board, because I know full well there are some teams who don't think about that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be on a math team, put it that way. Although, we do play together, so maybe you can take that responsibility. Maybe we could become a math team. Maybe I'll claim I'm part of a math team.
I'm not good at math, but I'm on a math team.
Yeah, exactly. Well, CLG have spotted some prey by the looks of things. One player getting picked up here on the passive. He's going to be stuck in the truck at the moment, or I should say, more of a digger, bulldozer, plow.
I mean, at this point, I call the other things RVs, and I know that's very wrong, so you shouldn't be asking me. It's Drug Free. We talk about them being around the 20th spot. There's 1 player remaining. They've gone down, and that could be Drug Free potentially out of the chances of being in regional finals. Of course, numbers will still have to be counted, but they have not had the game day to really put themselves within the chance of staying in those top 20 positions.
Yeah, CLG's got to keep an eye on those white meds at the moment, though, but I'm finding a pile of med kits and a crafter right next to you should make that a little bit more comfortable. Minute 45 to work with, and certainly craft a few more med kits to get them towards zone is going to be very helpful. The problem is they don't have a Valk, so it's going to have to be done by foot, so some extreme crafting is going to have to go down. Get the knitting needles out, lads. It's time to make yourself some med kits.
Drug Free are just going to be watching on and seeing what happens to E8 most likely. Drug Free were in 17th. CLG were in 19th. Oxygen were also...
Like, Hawk and try to go here late? Like, by these? Or like with these?
Yeah, they could.
So, like, when holding this, do we just kind of prio this, like, donut up here? And then, like, if a team lands down here, we could just kill him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Deeds just staying up there will be good. He said I would stay up there.
Okay.
People never really force in top trials unless like
They get eliminated so early here, whereas a fantastic time for the likes of CLG and the likes of Oxygen.
If you needed to know who the kill leader in the lobby is, it's going to be Shiny on CLG. The man who's popping a med kit and timing it perfectly before they're going to hit this balloon to redeploy and get a little bit closer to zone. Something to note in the kill feed is going to be, I was going to say, Sweet went down to the hands originally of 100 Thieves, but Nocturnal now has re-knocked Sweet. Hasn't been finished off as yet. NRG looking for the reset to get Sweet back on his feet. I mentioned how this could be a big game for NRG and take the pressure off their shoulders if they can convert on the position they've got. But now you're going to see Dark Zero also involved in this fight.
Nocturnal does have the chance to bat up. And are they actually going to push and get aggressive here? That would be my biggest question. It looks like they're definitely thinking about it because they can take an angle. They can get the finish. Dark Zero get eliminated. And NRG also starting to lose players. And it could be NRG and Dark Zero eliminated. One big sweep here.
Yeah, Nexet, who have had a quiet day so far. I mentioned how they didn't have zone information. Well, now they're moving in and they've decided this is the position we want to take. This is the position that we want to call our own, and we're going to take out anyone who's here. Last player should be eliminated as well. NRG eliminated. It's been a poor day for them by their own standards. Pressure on NRG's shoulders heading into the regional finals, Dan. And for NRG fans, it's not the first time they've been in this situation.
No, I mean, we always know that NRG have what it takes when their back is against the wall, when they go into a final match day needing something big. But again, it's never going to be an enjoyable position to be in for them. They're still within a shot of getting top 10 just via points, so they're not having to rely on winning that match day. But that being said, they're still going to have a match day to scream and shout about to make sure that they can solidify that spot as well. As we're down to 14 squads, CLG still looking to run rampant here and push any teams that may be in their way. I've been so impressed, by the way, with the response from CLG, considering they had their backs against the wall today. And they are going to be a team that really threatens these sides when we look at teams who are going to be in the top 20 on set, who will have to win on match point format to get to LAN. You know, you look at a team like CLG and you think, well, they do have what it takes. They do have the minerals to be there and do it. We'll have to see what happens when we get to those regional finals.
We'll be able to hit the map room scan here, which is going to give them some info on where all the teams are set up and what positions they can take away, or maybe kind of sneak their way in towards this end game. It's going to be a tough rotation for them, but one thing that CLG's game plan is reminding me of in these last few games on World's Edge. Shiny, obviously part of that complexity roster, feels like forever ago. Now they kind of introduced Bloodhound into the meta. They chase down teams on the edge. Just give me those similar vibes at the moment.
Yeah, and I love it. I love seeing this kind of style from a lot of these teams that have been able to just push themselves a little bit further when they're in this final match day and they know they have to actually show a little bit of aggression, because what they've been doing for the entire season hasn't really worked at times, and you do have to think outside of the box. I'm very excited to see what does happen with the top 20, though. I think that maybe the likes of Drug Free will just about cling on to top 20 because we've seen teams like AJC fall a little bit earlier, but certainly it's not going to be the most fun scenario having to sit back and watch. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the results look like as we get towards the end of the game.
Well, Fury at the moment holding out Drop In Gaming. Drop In Gaming do have the height, but they don't have the zone.
Right side.
They're going to have to move through Furia, which is a wall that you really don't want to have to walk through. Starting doing what he can to chip away at some damage.
I have to get my door.
Almost cracked one. Almost
But
cracked.
of Furia, but with 14 squads remaining, making this cross is going to be certainly treacherous. They're going to throw the Zero. Zero's going to be exchanged by the looks of things. Everybody on the map. Everyone in sight in this fight.
There's one I'm batting.
On site in the fight, Drop Gaming maybe goes down, but does enough damage. Just
I have this guy cracked. I have Zero. I have Zero. Their ult's gonna be gone. We gotta go. Nading that, careful, they're gonna shoot you.
52 on one.
Look on the right.
44.
That guy's low, Sears low. Han needs to heal. Han has to heal.
Queuing and batting.
Yep. Watson's got one. Killed one. I got a bat. We need to kill Steve. We need to kill Steve. I died. Oh, damn. You just have a one.
Possibility for the likes of Optic, for example, the likes of Glitch Energy as well.
Furia eliminated. You can see the easiest kill of Mamba's life as his Watson was halfway through healing and just did not have any idea that CLG were collapsing in behind him. But CLG also got to be wary of zone. But I think they're more wary about KP at the moment. They're hungry for KP. They've already got 6. And Nano's looking for another one.
Good shots again as Dropping Gaming now will get eliminated as 12 squads remain. And I think the teams that have been eliminated will just be keeping a keen eye on who is next, who is going to be falling. Do they hold on to one of those top 20 spots? Are they finding themselves into top 10? I think with AJC underperforming ever so slightly and also Tripods maybe not doing enough here in this last game, unless they were to find a victory, we might see the top 20 kind of holding on to the likes of E8, the likes of Drug Free, just about scraping through. As AJC get eliminated as well, that is fantastic news for the likes of Drug Free. I thought maybe Drug Free might have not done enough, but I think with AJC getting eliminated, suddenly that means they should be okay.
It's one of those lobbies where you're kind of just preying on the downfall of others to hold on to your own spot. E8 finally getting a little bit closer to an end game here. Barely seen them involved in those top 6, top 7 battles. But now, as we look through the eyes of Chaotic, can they force their way into trials? A treacherous move to have to make, of course. Teams up on that height, and the map overhead, we can see 100 Thieves inside of the zone. Tripod's also going to be safe. Exet, they're controlling the drill tower for now, but these shots from Chaotic are certainly going to make it a little bit easier, but CLG spot more kills in front of them. And with the way they've been playing, it wouldn't surprise me to see them try and take this on, but instead they're going to rotate, and it's a perfect time for us to jump into a listening now with CLG.
So wait, there's no knocks yet. We can play for underneath trials too.
Yeah.
After this, we just need to smoke our height.
They're ahead of them.
I'm in range.
I'm walking with you, Mamba. This is a good route. We need to get under the mountain here, under the hill.
They're fighting right now. Yeah, we
I'm just gonna let them. Fuck, I'm getting charged. They're looking.
I'm good here. Get on my shield.
Fuck. Have to smoke them, bro.
I'm smoking them.
And we need to move.
They're smoked off right now a little bit. Just hug to the left.
Pretty far.
I smoked right too. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Hop in a cell right now. That's a knock behind us. It's the Bloodhound team, by the way.
There's a team in trials, by the way.
Okay, we play the fight. Yeah, we play for the kills and then fight trials if we can.
Yeah.
They're coming out.
Push this.
Yeah, we should push.
Just push through.
If we can kill these guys, we have gun spot.
I'm popping the cell. Shoot that. I'm gonna smoke in one.
Horizon ulted.
Only one on. They're all on right. They're all on right. I'm sliding in.
I'm swinging in.
Swinging left. I'm swinging left.
I'm on the
Watch
left.
fight.
They're going back in.
Going all the way back.
Yeah.
Good.
We're gonna get pinched. We need to kill these guys. We need to kill them.
Nice. I need to pump a bat. Or behind. We gotta wipe this quick. We gotta wipe this quick. Behind us.
We have to wipe this.
I'm watching our back.
Freaking spikes.
I'm queuing in.
You guys good? Okay.
Right,
we need to go in, Nano.
I'm coming.
Outside of their door as well. Go back.
I am.
Dude.
Did they die?
I don't know.
Well, CLG look to have the upper hand. Optic introduce themselves. Tripods will be out. CLG fall as well. Optic take control of the center of trials.
Yeah, and we said that, Optic could be a dangerous team rotating all the way from the southeast.
Corrected. Sorry to jump in. Tripods, they took the zip. They've got the high ground.
Yeah, Tripod's still alive and still in a fantastic position as well. And, if they can find a few more kills and find themselves into first place, maybe there's still a miracle Cinderella story that could happen, even though it looks a little bit unlikely with the amount of points that are being scored by Optic Gaming, who find themselves in contention for first place. Glitch Energy, of course, are still ahead of them. Glitch Energy are holding on to that first place position in the overall standings, but Optic are only 4 points behind them right now.
5 squads remaining. Exet, he drop over at trials. He would have seen this zone and thought, this is a good game for us. They control the entire northern side of things. Gen trying to do a little bit of damage with this charge rifle onto the team on the rock. That rock is going to be Glitch Energy. And Glitch Energy, I mean, what a day it's been. Already in the top 5 here, Dan. Res being popped below them as well. That's going to be CCE trying to get a couple more members into the game. Shiny doing a pretty good job for his squad. The question is, has there loot to play with? The answer is yes. There's a couple of loot boxes next to him. Death boxes that are going to contain some goodies. So at least CCE will be able to fight.
Well, Tripods can certainly play the party poopers here as they're going to be arriving, and they're just going to be rising into the crosshairs of Tripods as Nick Merck's locked in and ready with the triple take to make life a living hell for the players that are arriving here on World's Edge.
Can they get the finish though? Are the CCE players going to be able to recover from this? Portal going down as well. Nick Merckx not quite connecting with that triple take shot. Knocked in the kill feed as well. He's going to deal with some of the players from CCE. Tripod's now forced off of the high ground. The out of bounds players coming in, and they catch one player off guard. Skillcakes had no idea that Nick Merckx was dropping in from behind.
Tripods really need kills. They need to put their best foot forward to give themselves a chance of not only winning here, but getting a massive game to try and win today's match day, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Gen goes down. Nick Merckx, the last remaining player now, as Glitch Energy doing the damage as, again, they find themselves into the top 3.
Optic Gaming eliminated. 3 squads now remaining. Glitch Energy try and move in to clean up the final pieces of Tripods that is left behind. But XZ, who have been quiet today, well, this is their home. They will pick up the win in our final game of the day. Trials belongs to XZ.
XZ, they moved up to the northern side of Trials very early on, which allowed them to just patiently assess where everyone else was going to go, and they slowly but surely worked their way back down. And as you said, it's their home turf. And also, just a polite reminder that XZ are the real deal. It may have been a quiet day, but they certainly are a squad who already have solidified themselves at LAN, and they are going to be very prevalent when it comes to those regional finals. And of course, I think they are a team we have to watch out for on the international stage, Lauren.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great way to close out the last day of the regular season for NA. I mean, our top team, the team that technically had already qualified for playoffs heading into today, closing it out with a win on top of the consistency that we have seen all day out of Glitch Energy. I mean, it's just been we've seen some really impressive performances across the board. I think it's going to make regional finals that much scarier next week, Mark.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And just to kind of give a shout out to a team who had a very difficult game there, but made something out of it. I mentioned how XZ and Optic are kind of fighting at the top of the leaderboards overall. Well, Optic got into, I think it was top 5, top 6 from a horrid rotation that they had to make all the way across World's Edge. XZ taking home the win, of course. It was a very friendly zone for them to take advantage of. But I just want to give Optic a shout out for showing that they can navigate through some really difficult traffic
but EA
to
got
find their way into endgames.
place. That's like 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, not
Dropping
only
got
that, but we
17th
also
place.
saw
That's like 2 points.
A little
And
bit
Drug
of a
Free
pickup
got
with
last.
the
They
very
got
first win
no
out of
points.
Tripods, and then once again they found themselves in the top 5 to close
I
out
don't
the
know,
day.
man.
Probably not going to be enough to get them into the top 20, but they had a much improved performance here today.
I think it's going to be agonizingly close for them, where they're just going to be 4 or 5 points off being top 20, and it's going to be a what if we had performed a little bit better early on in the season, if we had picked up a few more victories here or there and got those points. But it also shows that they can do it, and means it's very exciting for as they move forward, and it's going to be a Tripod squad that I'm sure will be looking forward to their future. That being said, there were some teams who were disappointing today and maybe will be going into regional finals with a bit of a struggle. Drug Free, I thought, were really struggling today for sure, and I'm having to see what they can do in regional finals because I think they've just about done enough.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with our final results when we get to that point. But before we do that, let's talk about the final circle. Walk us through what happened here and how XZ just had such a superior position on the northern side of this zone on side.
I mean, XZ's position was based off the fact that they took advantage of NRG fighting earlier against, I can't remember who it was, it was Dark Zero, I believe, two teams that were scrapping, and XZ came in and picked up the pieces and then just completely and utterly controlled the northern side of this zone. And everyone else who has to force their way into zone is, as you can see, just fighting for half a yard to play, and XZ can just spread out, just fire a will onto all of these players, and it ends up being a very, very simple win for them. But it's a simple win because of the play call they make, right? There's always a decision in a game for the winning team that leads them to being in the best position, and taking advantage of that fight that went down between NRG and DZ was the one that really made it for XZ.
Absolutely zero stress when it came to closing that game out there for XZ. 9 kills as well for a total of 21 points to close out the day. And then yet again, Glitch Energy finding themselves in second place for 13 points, but 7 kills out of both Tripods and Optic, Gaskin.
Yeah, I think that I'm very impressed with a lot of the kill games that have been had so far today from a lot of these teams. I say so far, it's the end of the day, but there has been some big kill games, not just in this region, in EMEA as well. I think that everyone realized that you had to be a little bit more aggressive in these lobbies if you wanted to be putting your best foot forward, and it's made for some very interesting games, that's for sure. There's been some squads that have been trying to just play placement, trying to play it safe, and they've not been allowed to by the sheer aggression that's come out of a lot of these guys.
I mean, even CLG, after we saw them able to get a 14 kill game, 7 kill game, they've got another 7 kill game here. And the aggression that we saw out of them is definitely going to be what they needed to do as far as keeping themselves up in a safe spot within that top 20 as we take a look at the second page here and see where the rest of our teams ended up shaking out. A slower finish for some of our teams that we were seeing some pop-off performances from here on set. I mean, you got LG down here, even Furia, NRG. DZ had a rough day too.
Yeah, I mean, DZ you felt they'd done enough. You know, regional finals is guaranteed for them, and the one team I feel kind of almost sad for is Oxygen. Again, you know, what a start to the day. First 4 games, they look great, and then it's always just the end of the series. I don't know what it is for them. Do they get unfortunate? Teams play more aggressive, catch them on their rotation? Or do they just kind of run out of steam? Whatever it might be, Oxygen Esports, again, just falling a little bit flat in the final couple of games, and they need to find a way to put that right because they start days so well, but they just cannot keep that momentum going. And NRG, 0 points for them. I mentioned how this could be a big day for them. Well, 11th place is going to be not where they wanted, but there are some points on the board at least for them.
We'll have to see what it means when it comes down to the overall, but Glitch Energy, once again, I don't think enough good things can be said about them. 70 points, finishing in first for the series here today. Optic Gaming, after a really strong start to their day, they were able to at least manage to close it out after a rough situation like you were mentioning earlier on set. Furia just really showed up as well in the beginning. I mean, we saw so much promise from so many of these teams in individual moments, but it ended up evening out across the board, Gaskin, because the point spread isn't that massive.
No, it isn't, and that was why it was worrying for teams who were on that bubble like E8, like Drug Free, because had AJC won that last game and pushed themselves into the top 10, they may have been able to push themselves into the top 20 as well for those regional final spots. I think that we're going to see E8, Drug Free, Oxygen, and CLG all survive. They were the ones I was a little bit worried with because AGC didn't push them out and because Tripods unfortunately didn't push them out as well. But it was a day that was full of, again, surprises. It was full of teams who maybe had underperformed throughout the season, showing that they can do it on the final day. But unfortunately, unlike EMEA, I don't think NA has that Cinderella story, and I don't think Tripods did enough.
Well, while we are getting all of those final numbers tallied up and ready to go, we're going to switch the conversation on over from teams to our players, which means it is time for the Monster Energy MVP. All right, new region, new choice. Onset, who really stood out for you today?
I'm looking at Furia, and I'm looking at Zeratricky. I've always been really impressed by this guy. I think mechanically, probably one of the most underappreciated players in the game. I think he's absolutely insane when it comes to individual ability. A lot of talk about his Watson, understandable. Panda's a consistent damage machine, but I feel like Zeratricky is a player who can just slot into any role. He's always putting down damage, and you're going to see, like, when you're looking at players of pure aim on mouse and key, he's just kind of like a little bit special when it comes to those moments, and he was always good at converting on the damage that was being done by Pandas, and you can see him working together with Pandas here in this game that they did manage to take home the win. And I was just really impressed all round with his dedication to making good decisions today. Furia will put in some really rough spots at times, and I feel like Zeratricky just putting down consistent damage a lot of the time with an SMG in his hand really did create great opportunities for Furia to succeed, and it showed in the final leaderboards.
All right, that is a fantastic choice. I think Furia, as always, is a solid team.
Cakes, because I think the story of Skittlecakes has been an incredible one to watch. His career just go from, you know, being this outbreaking player who impressed us with his aim to turning into one of the best players in the region, if not the world. The damage output and the amount of kills that Skittlecakes is able to find always impresses me, and I think no matter what weapon is in his hand, you can always trust him to put down fire, whether he's covering his team or whether he's the one initiating the fight. He was able to, at times, 1v2 teams. He was able to hold teams out when he was in a position that maybe Optic were going to struggle. And I think having that confidence of a player, having someone who is always happy to take a gun engagement, even if they're behind on shields, is so important to have on your roster. So that's why Skittlecakes is my nomination for today.
All right, I love it. Obviously, some of our teams at the top of the table. For me, I'm sticking with Glitch Energy, okay? I picked them at the beginning of the day. They showed up and showed out, so that means for me, Vayne is my MVP nomination. And, you know, we mentioned it earlier on in the broadcast, Gaskin. You said the Arena Boys were having an incredible performance here today, and they really were. We saw time and time again where Glitch Energy were able to do a fantastic job of predicting the zones and setting themselves up incredibly well for the end game. Obviously, taking into consideration they did get those back-to-back wins, followed up by a third place finish, then a second place finish. I mean, the consistency cannot be overstated out of Glitch Energy, and that all comes down to the IGL in Vayne. Not only that, but still putting up the kills, putting up the assists, contributing to all of the damage for the squad. So for me, it has to be Vayne from Glitch Energy after what we saw out of all of them today. But phenomenal choices across the board, obviously, and fantastic discussion. So this has been your Monster Energy MVP. All right, it's time to get to what we've all been waiting for, the regular season standings. We get to see who has made it and who has not. So let's bring it up, and we have more teams also clinching their playoff spots on set.
Yeah, congratulations, Xset. We knew we're going to be there, but Optic Gaming, Furia, and Dark Zero all solidify their places at the Split 2 playoffs. And if you wanted a list of powerhouses, it doesn't get too much better than that. Glitch Energy very, very close to doing so as well. 5th place overall for Glitch Energy, overtaking FaZe. A fantastic day for them overall.
It also gives you an idea that if Glitch Energy just get 5 more points from regional finals, they're guaranteed because Dark Zero are there, right? I don't think they would even need 5, but you can see how close they were and what an important game day it was.
That's wildly impressive that this is where all of our numbers ended up at. You can see our top 10. We'll slide on down to the next page and see who's going to be rounding out the top 20. Drug Free coming in at 48 points in the 20th position here on set.
Yeah, at 20th position for Drug Free, but I'm looking at NRG. They like leaving it late, NRG, and you're leaving it almost too late. Regional finals, they will be there, of course, but they got some work to do ahead of them. Complexity have had a good season so far as well. Really started to find some form in final weeks. They've got work to do as well. Regional finals is set up to be a pretty incredible overall day, I think, of action. So keep your eyes on that one. It's going to be extremely stressful, extremely emotional, I'm sure, with those playoff spots on the line.
And we'll see how close your math was here, Gaskin, as we take a look at the third page and see which teams just didn't quite make the cut. Tripods there at 44 points, right behind LTC.
Yeah, 4 points short in the end, and I think it's going to be a case of what could have been throughout the rest of the season for Tripods. It was a great last-ditch effort, but just not quite enough. And for AJC, I think they'll be kicking themselves a little bit. They were the closest team to be able to get there at the start of the day, but they just weren't able to put the points on the board, weren't ever able to get going. The same could be said for SCS. So Drug Free are going to be very relieved. Despite being eliminated in 18th position in that last game, they were able to hold on and just watch the likes of AGC and Tripods not do enough.
Yeah, things were definitely close all day here. Phenomenal performance across the board. But now you guys know who to expect to see next week in a regional finals. But before we close out the day, let's jump into an interview. I am so excited that we get to do this because it was my team. It was now my MVP pick. We've got Vayne hanging out with us. How are you feeling right now?
I don't know. Relief, I guess. No, I'm super excited. Super proud of my team and everybody's performance today and last week. Just super proud of everyone.
I mean, you guys absolutely crushed it today. And I had kind of talked about it at the top of the show. Outside of this play day and match day 7, you guys had significantly better stats on World's Edge than Stormpoint. And then these last 2 match days, you just absolutely completely flipped it on its head and crushed it. So what changed for you on Stormpoint?
Yeah. Well, last split, funny enough, it was the exact opposite. Like, we were really good at Stormpoint, but World's Edge was terrible. So it kind of flipped this season. So we had super easy or just like really good World's Edge, and our Stormpoint was terrible. And then the last 2 weeks before last week, we had terrible World's Edge and really good Stormpoint. So it's just like back and forth, but we finally figured it out and we're succeeding on both maps now. So I think it took some time, but we kind of have ironed out all the kinks. So It's good to feel.